Ladies and gentlemen, it is showtime. Please enjoy the show.
It's the corner where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfield.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Chief Concerns, your Monday morning tight end. On your Monday evening, I'm Marcus Dash, former Chiefs tight end Jason Dunn, and my brother Kage Dash will be joining us shortly. And of course, Chief Concerns is presented by PrizePicks, the number one. It's a lot of different things with it. You can do a lot with PrizePicks, but we'll get to that later on. So tonight we're gonna be doing another dive into our college prospect show. We have 9 dudes we're talking about tonight. A lot of different guys tonight's show. One of which is Kenyon Sadiq, which I know a lot of you have been waiting for JD to do his kind of preview and spotlight on Kenyon Sadiq, since he is probably one of the higher valued tight ends, the highest tight end prospect, highest rated tight end prospect in this draft. So JD will talk about him extensively tonight. Tage and I will be talking about some other dudes. Brandon Cisse I'll be talking about. Who are the guys Tage is talking about tonight? I forget who he's talking about. Max Klare is one of the guys Tage is talking about. Another tight end. So we got 2 tight ends tonight's episode. JD's talking about Zachariah Branch as well. So a lot of good guys to get into tonight. So yeah, it should be a good show. It's all about prospects tonight. Wednesday, JD and I are going to kind of dive into the Rashee Rice stuff. Kyer Elam, we'll be talking about all that. But I hope everyone had a good weekend, and I hope everyone had a nice and happy Easter yesterday with your families. And mine was pretty good. A little family action. Nieces and nephews, or nieces, did their Easter egg hunts. That was nice to see. I gotta say, I don't know if it's a new generation thing, but the competitive nature is not just there. When I was coming up, the winner of the Easter egg hunt, that was the big deal. People would count how many Easter eggs they got. The victor, wouldn't get anything extra. It was just more the competitive aspect of it. You were the winner over the other person. And there wasn't much of that with my nieces. They were just they just took their eggs and they opened them. They didn't count how many eggs they had. There was nothing of that. So I don't know. It must be a new generation thing. I don't know. What do they call the new generation? The Gen Alpha, not Gen Z's. Gen Alpha is the next up. So I don't know. Let's see who's in the chat tonight. We got my guy Will, Chief Concerns family. What's up, buddy? I hope you are doing well, my guy. Weston Brewster, what's up, Marcus? You coming out to any games this year? I don't know if I'm coming out to any games this year. I do know, we haven't talked about this yet, but next year DC is going to be hosting the draft, and JD and I might have to put on a little something in the DC area. If you guys want to come for that, maybe we'll do a little Chief Concerns gathering at the draft next year in DC. So that's something that we might actually think about. But we got a long time to go over that stuff. Should be good stuff. I don't know if I'm coming to any games. I'll have to see. I have to check my schedule. I got a lot of weddings to go to this year, so we shall see. About time. Greetings all. Lurking from work. What's up, About Time? Hope you're doing well. Hope the wife is doing well. Hope you're doing well. Hope everyone had a nice Easter yesterday as well. Aaron Rose. Hi, everyone. So, yeah, guys, going to be a good show tonight. It's going to be interesting. As we get close to the draft, there's so many different topics that come up. Some topics today I was arguing with some people online. I said Akeem Messidor, that'd be a good guy for us to get. 25 years old, but it'd be nice to get at 29. It'd be nice to get a guy who's a polished dude. Now everyone said he's too old, he won't be able to make it past one contract. Well, if he gives us 5 years, by all means, I'm fine with that. That's a lot more than some other guys we've drafted high at that same spot who haven't given us even 2 years, right? So I'd be okay with that. Messidor's a guy we're a win now mode. That's a guy I would want, to be quite honest with you. So we'll see. But yeah, I was talking about people. I'm like, why? What? He's at 22, 21. What's that matter? We're trying to win right now. We're on a team trying to win 5 years from now. We're trying to win right now, and we are in a spot to win right now. So bring in talent. For me, it's like just bring in talent. And if by the time he gets to that 5th year, it's 29, 30 years old, give him a 2 or 3 year deal. Shoot. I mean, come on. Okay, people are acting like that, trying to think of the head of the next contract. No, I just want him to be a guy who contributes for us in this contract. Right? Because I mean, even look at the draft class, that amazing draft class we had in 2022. Only one guy's going to be sticking around past the 5-year marker, and that's Karlaftis. Everybody else is gone. So, I mean, like, okay. So, let's say Messenger gets that. He gets the 5 years and 30 years old. He gets another contract. I mean, sure. I mean, like, I don't understand the problem with that. I don't know. So, I get having somewhat of an age thing, but, like, really, we're trying to win right now. We need guys who are going to come in and be active pass rushers and beast for us now, not then. So, for me, it's, I don't know. Yeah. Weird talk. And then you got the Ruben Bain stuff. Like, I don't know. I feel like people are too into the whole, like, oh, the arm length thing. I mean, sure, I get it, but that guy's a stud in my book. So that's all I got to say about that. I mean, Ruben Bain's a beast. I mean, people are talking about, like, people have bad things to say about everybody. And that's the thing. I get it. Like, everyone's got a knock. I mean, it's college prospects, guys. I mean, not everyone's going to be a dude, right? Otherwise, everyone would be going number 1, right? And this is a draft, and people are saying it's not a lot of high-end dudes, but they're solid guys. And Ruben Bain, sure, the drawbacks, the arm length, but everything else, pretty dang good. High-rated run stopping, high-rated as a pass rusher. David Bailey, high-rated pass, excellent pass rusher, low-rated in run support. So, like, there's drawbacks and pros to these guys. Arvell Reese, never really been a pass rusher before, right? So, like, there's a knock. That's a knock there. It's kind of an unknown for him, all right? The potential's there, but it's an unknown for him. So my point is there's a lot of knocks to these guys. Caleb Downs is one of he's top to bottom, awesome. I think he'll be a great NFL player. But it's a safety, not a premium position, right? So, I mean, it's just you can find the flaws that knocks to everybody. Mekhi Lemon, great receiver, but he's 5'11", right? I mean, how is that going to pan out, right? Can he pan out going forward? I don't know. And he also has the weird, what do you call it? The whole, like, weird interviews with the scouts and the coaches. So, like, that's also I don't really want to get into, especially when you have, our own locker room stuff going on with our receiver room. So it's all smoke and mirrors about Bain's arms. Teams want him to drop so they can snatch him. Yeah, and that's why the Chiefs have put out the whole Jeremiah Love stuff out there. It's not happening, but they put it out there for a reason, right? Messenger being the player for today, which lets you draft a more developmental edge. Yeah. I mean, Messenger at pick 29 would be fantastic. I don't think he's going to last 29, but hey, who knows? If there actually is legs to this whole 25-year-old thing and people not liking that, then yeah, maybe he'll be there. I don't know. Let's pay some bills here. I'm going to go to our sponsors, and hopefully Tasia and JD will be back on the other side. So yeah, this is PrizePicks. Quick pause. We'll get right back to Chief concerns in a second. But this episode is presented by PrizePicks, America's #1 sports picks app. If you're enjoying the show, PrizePicks is a fun way to stay engaged with the games you're already watching. The app is super easy to use. Just pick more or less on a few player stats like passing yards or touchdowns and build your entry in seconds. And with basketball in full swing, you can also get in on rebounds, points, or three-pointers. It's daily fantasy designed to be simple and quick, whether you're a casual fan or someone who really follows the numbers. And one of my favorite features, you can actually follow me on PrizePicks. You can follow the link in the description and follow along with what I'm doing so you don't miss anything. If you're new, download the PrizePicks app. Use code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup. You'll get $50 in lineups instantly. PrizePicks is available in most states, so check it out, play responsibly, and let's get back to the show. All right, we're back. So yeah, I gotta say, like, seeing these things, right? At Western Bridge, everybody keeps having the Chiefs take a tackle at 9. I'm about to explode like a volcano. Like, I'm okay with us drafting a tackle at 29. Let's say from 9 we trade back, which I hope we don't. I want to take a premier talent because it's not many times, maybe ever will ever be in a top 10 again in the Mahomes era. So let's take advantage of that. But if they want to trade back, sure, why not? I'm all for that. But 9, man, and especially when they see some of these guys, these tackle dudes, probably probably like becoming guards. That's for me. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that, man. Like, I don't want to draft a guy who's a tweener guard tackle. It's not really what I want. So for me, I'm kind of out on that. So, yeah. So I'm seeing a lot of that. Like, a lot of people come in the chat and be like, oh yeah, like, get let's not we don't need a pass rush. I'm like, wait. Hey, somebody actually told me today on Twitter, like, is our pass rush even a problem? Is our pass rush a problem? What are you talking about? Did you not watch the games last year? And on top of that, we our secondaries, we're gonna have a lot of new guys back there. I mean, depending on if we draft, any of the top dudes, but like, what are you talking? I mean, like, we need a pass rush. I mean, my gosh, we didn't do anything in free agency to help that. That's what the draft's for. And it's a deep draft as far as getting pass rushers. And hey, we have 3 picks in the top 40s. And the thing is, it's like, can they go to them in the top 40? By all means. Yeah, I mean, I would love that. But we've talked about a lot of the pass rushers in this draft, but like, can they do that? Sure. And I don't think I wouldn't be opposed to it. And I think most of everybody else would be opposed to it. That's why today I see this comment on Twitter. It's like, is it really a need? Yeah, it's a need. What are you talking about? Of course it's a need. I don't know. I see these things sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know where you're getting information. Like, I really don't like. Let's, you know what? I'm gonna pull it up because it's. I was kind of like mind boggled by it, and I don't know if the guy was like. I thought the guy was trolling at first, but no, he was serious. Yeah, he was serious. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I was like, what? Is this guy serious? Where are you? Please, come on, don't delete it. I hope you didn't delete it. Here we go. Yeah, this is bad. And his handle is your info is wrong, which I think is hilarious. That's his handle name. Okay. I mean, to be honest, was our D-line really that bad, or was it really the secondary? Because in 2023, 2022, 55, 57 sacks, we all had our DBs. 24 lost Snead and dropped to 39. This year we lost Reed and dropped to 35. Only thing changed in the line was Frank leaving in 23 and Wharton this year. Yeah, pass rush helps the DBs, not the other way around. DBs don't help the pass rush. Sorry, why do I have that up? Yeah, sorry. I mean, like, is this guy serious? I mean, what's going on here? I mean, like, pass rush helps. It's not the opposite. Pass rush will help the DBs. Yeah, better pass rush helps the DBs out. We had 2 guys who got paid a lot of money. We traded. We got a lot from Trent McDuffie, and Jalen Watson got a lot. And those guys didn't have the. I mean, that wasn't the best year for them by any means. They had no pass rush. The fact they did as well as they did with no pass rush actually bodes well for them as guys in the secondary. But I mean, come on, now what are we talking about here? I can't believe. And I get draft seasons at the time of the year where a lot of people go nuts, saying nonsense, saying stuff that because they want the Chiefs to draft their guy that they deem to be their dude. But come on, was the pass rush that bad? Come on. It wasn't Chris Jones' best year, although he's getting triple team, double teams all the time. Karlaftis can't finish. He's the pressure king, but he's not the sack king. FAU, non-existent. Charles Menahu, non-existent. We didn't have another D tackle next to Chris Jones all season. We had to bring back Derek Nottie. I mean, the D-line issues are well documented. I mean, it's even come out, the teams even talked about how bad the D-line was. So, like, for fans to even say this to, like, I guess go towards a narrative that we don't need to draft a D-line, D lineman because you want a right tackle, because you want a cornerback. Silly stuff, really silly stuff. So, and I get it. People are going to say what they have to say. Everyone's got their own opinion on it. My opinion, just because I think my opinion is better than that opinion, doesn't mean it's right. Like we could go into the draft and hey, maybe they don't think pass rush is an issue and they don't stay away from all these guys. I don't buy that, right? They just brought in David Bailey. Right, because the guy who's going to probably go top 5. Ian Rappaport also kind of like hinted at that she's possibly going up by bringing in some of these guys like RFL Reese and David Bailey. Like, they're interviewing guys who are going to be top 5 picks in this draft. So does that mean they're interested in going up early? Maybe. So Digger 4287. It's rare to hear the announcers say cover sec, especially in this NFL with all the mobile quarterbacks. Very true. Yeah, you don't see that often. You need to have guys who are closers. And quite frankly, we don't have any, right? Karlaftis is great at getting pressures. You need one of those kind of guys. You have that. You have another high motor guy in Gelati, friend of the show. He can do that. But you need closers. And I think Bain could be that. I think David Bailey could be that. Arvel Reese, I'm out on just because it's a question mark. He's an athletic freak. It's not his thing, right? I much prefer to go in one of the other two guys. Whatever. That's just how I feel. And like for people say it's not an issue, it's like, okay. Well, let me tell you this. If you say it was a DBs in the secondary, how about this? How about we don't have either one anymore? How about we have question mark? Actually, we have question marks in the secondary as well as question marks at edge. Okay, so you got to do something. You got to go with both. It's deep as far as edge rushers. It's also deep as far as DBs in this draft. I'm talking about one of them tonight. There's a lot of good guys in this draft. Taja's already talked about a good amount of them. Talk about another one tonight. So, like, there's DBs in this draft. There's also edge rushers in this draft. It just depends what's there at number 9, right? It's what's going to come down to. And I think Veach talked about it last week. It's like, I can say all the things I want, but at number 9, you're kind of in the spot, like, what's going to fall back to me? So if we're at number 1, we're in a good spot because anything's there, right? Everything's up for grabs. But outside of that, it's like, you need things kind of fall to you. And we'll see what happens. I'm happy filling in with free agents, proven play, draft, plug and play, then develop draft picks. I mean, look, we haven't really we made some splashes, but as far as the D line front, not really. The cornerback, we actually, we've done some secondary moves. I mean, Khairi Elam's another one. The dude we got from Miami. We signed 2 guys and and Alohi Gilman. We've done a lot in the secondary. Trenches wise, Atonga is the only one that we've done. So that's it. And that's D tackle. That's more of a run support guy, but that's a great D tackle next to Chris Jones. So like we've done that, but we've done more to help the bolster the secondary, whereas we haven't really done that with the D line room. And I think this draft's going to be, if I had to make a guess, I say we come away with this draft. I'm going to say 3 guys from between edge rushers and D tackle. So 3 guys in the D line is what's going to happen tonight. All right, it's going to happen at the draft. That's that. If I had to make a bet on it, that's what I would say. Melly Matrix, why do they keep matching the rumor mill that the Chiefs are monitoring Trent Williams and 49ers? I don't know. I've only heard really the one report, which is what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, which is the Jason Lock and 4 report, which talked about us being ones to pounce on him if need be. So I don't know beyond that. And that was more of like it was weird because it wasn't much of like a report. It was more, it felt like it was more gut than anything else. So I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me. We have been a team that's been named a lot from D line or offensive linemen this year. The guy of the Packers who ended up going to the Panthers, I believe, for a 1-year deal. He was a guy that we were linked to. We were linked to Jeremiah Luminure with the Giants. We were one of the teams probably really aggressive with him. It was us, the Browns, and the Giants, which that makes sense. He's a right tackle, but it also doesn't make sense too because like we are paying Jalen Moore kind of a good amount of money. So for me, it doesn't really make much sense. And plus, Trent Williams' price tag. It's gonna be pretty expensive. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's an interesting report. I think it does tell you that we are interested in tackle. Necessarily paying for one, I don't think so. But like I said, I think at pick 29, if they see that one of their tackles is on the board and they want to go for him, sure. For me, I just don't want to go with Maui Noah at number 9. I'd be genuinely very upset if that happened. So, and I would get it. But for me, I would even say I'd probably rather go Sadiq at number 9 than an offensive tackle. Yeah, because at least we know we're going to need that tight end spot's going to be vacant in the year. Noah Gray's not going to be that guy. Sadiq could be that guy. So, like, for me, that's kind of where I stand with it. But it's obviously well documented that we are interested in a tackle. I thought that meant we're gonna try to find a legit veteran tackle to be our guy, like just because they don't trust, they're tired of the whole having to work on a guy, having to kind of get the guy's potential out. But for me, I I think these reports of us being interested in tackles, I think this just means that we're gonna probably go with one in the draft. And I think if a spot is there, I think number 29 is probably number 40. Number 29 or number 40 is going to be the spot we take a tackle. I know guys in that spot would like Lomu could be there. Blake Miller from Clemson could be there. There's a few guys who could be at that 29 or 40 spot. So we're going to have to see. I don't think – I think that could be – we have first-round pick next year. We have 2/3 next year. I think you maybe wait to draft a tackle. You can use that first-round pick next year for that tackle. I just think we have other needs that should be more priority right now than right tackle, because I think Jalen Moore can be that guy. And we also Esapole do his thing there last year too. So let these guys hammer it out for that right tackle spot. You're gonna bring in another rookie and have him fight it out, who's probably not a guarantee. Yeah, so like I would say, if I had my druthers, I would go D-line as priority number 1. Wide receiver, because Rashee Rice is on a contract year. Xavier Worthy's 2 more years away. I mean, I'd probably go receiver. Okay, I would go D-line, and then BPA, D-line, receiver, cornerback. That's what I would do probably. Those first 3 picks, not in that order, but like BPA, whatever those positions, right? If if Bain and Bailey are gone, Reese are gone, then okay, then let's go down to cornerback. Mansour Delane's there, okay, but also Caleb Downs is also there too. There's a lot of ways to go with that, but tackle is probably not it's not my top 3. But if the best tackle is available at 29 over the best receiver available and the best edge rusher, then sure, go best tackle available at 29. But for me, I would probably go the DB, receiver, D-line route as opposed to tackle. That would probably fall out of that for me. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Brett Veach is going to have he's going to have his he's going to have to make his money this upcoming draft, So, yeah. I think Tasia and JD should be joining us shortly. Just texting them now, letting them know that we're almost tapping into March Madness championship time. Anyway, so yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. I'll tell you. I'm with you on critical needs with D-line. Agreed. Or 29 would be a good tackle for depth, injury. Yeah, you go number 40 as well. Again, it's kind of clear what our needs are. I would say that tackle's probably the least of those needs, just because we're paying Jalen Moore $13 million this year. Like, we're paying a lot of money for a right tackle. Like, we're gonna spend another thing on another high asset on another. I don't know. Need y'all to do a review of Edge, Caden Curry later pick, but his 2025 numbers are off the charts versus Big Ten competition. It's not bad. Big Ten's, that's solid. That's where the big boys come and play. Our guy, former Chiefs tight end Jason Dunn, is joining us now. There he is.
What up, Marcus? What's going down? What's up, everybody out there? Chief Concerns family. How y'all doing tonight?
It's popping in here, JD. Everyone's rearing to go. Everyone's excited. I mean, I think I told you a couple weeks ago. People have been saying for a long time, do a review on Kenyon Sadiq. We need JD to hear. We need to hear what JD has to say about Kenyon Sadiq, the most athletic tight end to come out since Vernon Davis, according to all these athletic scores.
He's athletic. That's for sure. There ain't no question about it. So, yes, he is. Yes, he is. So,
and we've been getting a lot of comments about on tackle, JD. What are your thoughts on drafting tackle at? I mean, I've seen a lot of these mock drafters have us getting a tackle on 9. I'm seeing a lot of us taking them 1 at 29. Where do you say right tackle stacks up to the edge rush debate or DB or receiver? Where does tackle kind of go into that mix? Obviously, we agree that D-line is number 1 priority. And outside of that, I feel like it's all comes down to BPA, who's best available at that position at 29 when it comes to that.
Yeah. Look, I told everybody this on last Wednesday, and here's my list. Defensive end, defensive line, secondary safeties, number 2. Number 3 is wide receiver, athlete guy. Number 4, tight ends, running back. 5 is linebackers, OT. They're offensive tackle is at the bottom of my totem pole. It really is. I would be disappointed if we took somebody at 9 at offensive tackle. Truly, I really would be. Truly disappointed. I'm usually not disappointed in drafts, but I'm like, oh my gosh, But you have to make a move like that. There's got to be a full-on strategy on why you're doing it. I'm telling you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who you want to go in and move up on. You've already talked to a couple of teams about maybe trying to do some trades before this happens. If you do a tackle at 9. And I'm just be honest with you. Some of the tackles I see, I don't necessarily put them on where the tackles were last year on the same caliber. I think they're pretty good tackles. I think they are. But 9 on a guy when we got glaring holes other places, I couldn't see it. Especially we got guys that are there. We're paying Jalen Moore a lot of money to play tackle. We're not paying him to be a backup. We're paying him to play tackle. So
ready for some devil's advocate on that, though?
I mean, sure. Yeah. If you want to say you rather
we were paying him a lot of money last year too. We still drafted Simmons at 31.
Yes, we did. But the thing is, when we got him here, at least it was like, okay, this young guy, this is kind of like a safety piece because we really didn't know what we are going to get. Then, Josh Simmons he misses, I'm not going to miss him for 8 games, but he had to deal with some things. At 8 games, Jalen Moore had to step up. Issa Polle was one of those we didn't know was coming along that we just came out of the blue. We cut this guy. He came back and, he played, extremely well. But at some point, you had to think to yourself, we can't let $16 million just sit on the sideline and not do nothing with it. I don't care if I would have had him back here punting or something. You're gonna hold the field goal hunter. You're gonna be a field goal, holding the football on the field goal, going down on punt, kickoff. You're gonna do something. And so I think that's and Justin Blackwell's making a very good point right here. If something had happened, let's say Josh Simmons' knee didn't hold up, you had to have a guy that was there. We got Jalen Moore before Josh Simmons. So that was one of those things that we were going with. But go ahead, Tage.
We don't know what their board looks like, though, right? So if we're sitting at 9 and it happens to be the highest player on their board is your right tackle, then that's the hard part to swallow there. Now, you're saying you don't want it at 9? Would you be just as upset at 29?
I say this. With the projections of the guys that's going, I do believe that there's some type of drop off at 29. That we should have a guy that's played in the NFL that got NFL experience, 2 guys that can go and probably play that position, as opposed to a rookie coming in at 29. So, we've talked about, obviously the ones offensive tackles just projected probably top 20. Okay, the teams will probably get, a lot of teams are probably going to grab it. 29, you kind of swinging for the fences. You're looking at another King Suma. That's where you're looking at. And so why not do that and invest in Jalen Moore or Issa Polle, that do have NFL experience. They know the speed of the game. And we're paying a hefty price for Jalen Moore.
Yeah. I would think that drafting a tackle at 29 is more of we like this guy a lot and we're tired of looking for a right tackle every friggin' year. And our name surfaces with every single offensive tackle prospect who becomes available or might become available. Like I think they're tired of that. Mm-hmm. They spent a lot of money on Taylor. We spent draft capital on Brown. And paid him a decent amount of money too, just for a short term. So I think we're tired of doing that, and I think we're looking for a long-term solution there. So I don't think it'd be necessarily a 2026 pick. I think it would be 2026 insurance, but then 2027 and beyond pick if we went 29. It would be like a, hey, we'll pick this guy here, and maybe by week 5, if Moore looks terrible, we can put him in and start from there on out. And then he's our guy from there on out for the next 4 years and hopefully beyond, honestly. But I don't think he'd be a today starter day one. That's just me. I don't think he'd be a today starter.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that. My thought process is this too. Why not address it next year? There's going to be tackles coming out next year that's probably as good. Well, yeah. So instead of doing that, then you still have free agency. You still see where guys are going and see what things may transpire, as opposed to getting a guy that you are, a little timid about. It's just like,
maybe they're timid. It could be the top guy on their board. It could be. Could be. But I'm looking at this like, we're trying to win now. What is our need? What do we have holes to fill right now? Okay. Like, we're not looking for a guy to be on the bench. We're looking for a guy to come in and make plays and start at this moment. And I agree.
We know what we need desperately on defense. You know what I'm saying? So
if I were in the room with them, I know we need to get to our prospects.
Yeah.
If I were in the room with them and someone made that argument you just made to me, which is a very valid argument, I would say, okay, if we had this tackle prospect on our team last year, he would have played like 12 games for us because of all of our problems at tackle. So, yeah, you might not think he'll be a starter for us, but things change very quickly between family emergencies, injuries. Like, if we had a first-round tackle, if we had, let's just say Maui Noah, just an example. Mm-hmm. Maui Noah would have started like 12 games for us last year between tackle positions and guard. So he would have played a lot.
Could have, yeah, sure. But we found somebody in Issa Pole. So Pole, I think is a great prospect. It's like a 6'7".
Promise, sure.
Good feet, strong's been in the system. I mean, I'm like, okay, we got Josh, who is the staple over at left tackle, pretty much. Issa and Jalen, and shoot, if Jalen does a great job, shoot, we could try to extend him for a couple more years. I tell you what, for the price point and experience is like one of the things you just can't, it's hard to try to negotiate out of your, off your team. It really is.
Yeah, I know.
You just gotta have a guy that knows what he's doing and what he's going against. Like I said, you ain't going against Systemaire DePoor, with a guy, and taking international finance, right? What I say last time, Marcus, what Egyptian anthropology?
Yep.
Yeah. You're not doing that. You ain't getting that guy. Okay. He's serious business over here now.
What better way to segue to our prospects?
Yeah, but I think you're right, JD. I think that could be something that you have 3 picks in the top 40. We have needs at receiver, D-line, and cornerback. And right now, of all the positions, throwing tackle in there, we have more guys already devoted to that right tackle spot right now between Jalen Moore's getting paid $13 million and Issa Pole, who actually looked pretty decent last year at the tackle spot. You have those two battle it out for the right tackle spot. And then next year, if Pole does pan out that right tackle spot, you have him either start or you bring in the guy in the first round and you have him compete with Pole next year. But
you have to re-sign him, though.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, as far as all those positions we're talking about, the other ones we're more bare in those positions than we are at the right tackle spot as of today. So, all right. So let's get into our prospects tonight. As I mentioned, we got some good ones tonight. Popular names surfacing here. And we're going to begin tonight with Kenyon Sadiq.
Yes, sir. Kenyon Sadiq. Ooh-wee, out of Oregon. Let me get this thing open right here, man. So, we discussed this guy. I actually had film. If you haven't seen the film, go to YouTube, go check it out. This guy is dynamic. He's an absolute player. He's a baller. 6'3", 241. He's not the prototypical size. He's more like an H-back type of guy. You look at his guns, man, he looks like an action figure. We know that. I mean, and the thing is, he runs hard, he plays hard, he's a powerful guy. His athleticism score is off the charts, man. He ran a 4.39 at the combine, 43.5 vertical jump. I had a 40. I was just like, this dude, 11-1. I'm like, this guy's doing it. Bench press 26. He's everything is advertised. He really is. Okay. And it's almost like this. The question I had with Kenyon Sadiq this year is almost like what we just had a conversation about our tackles. All right. And the reason I say that is because do we go and grab a Kenyon Sadiq at 9? I don't think we do. I just don't. I don't think so. For the simple fact, we're going to have Travis Kelce. We got guys behind him, Noah Gray, Jared Wiley, Bringen Stool. We got guys. And I think also, too, you can get some other tight ends maybe later on down the road, later draft, in later rounds. So Kenyon Sadiq is an absolute baller. He's a player. Like I said before, he's everything is advertised. You see 51 receptions, 560. One of the things they were talking about is his route tree. His route tree was limited. Is what some of the conversation and some of the things that they were talking about that was some of a concern. But for a guy that's as athletic as Kenyon is, I don't think there would be such an issue and a problem. I just don't. And especially just talking about here with the Chiefs. Certain routes he's ran, corner routes, 9 routes, which is the seam, the go routes, easy slants. You're talking about
a lot of crossers.
Cross routes. I mean, that's what we do, shallow crosses, all those different things. Man, curl routes, I think, was like one of his top ones that he had. I know there was projection that had, hold on, let me pull this thing up. I should have sent it to you, Marcus, but we were kind of looking at.
This is the reception perception?
Yes. Uh-huh.
They do good work there.
And it had right here, success rate by route is what they had. And success rate by route, one of his top ones was out route, which is about 10 yards, flat. They said non-existent was the comeback. It's not available. Screen route is 100%. I mean, screens, you ought to be able to catch that. Dig routes is at 63%, which is kind of concerning for a dig route. I mean, as a tight end, you're supposed to live in the middle. The dig route is yours. That is the one you run up about 12 yards and you're behind the linebackers. You're trying to find a window, the first hole or the second hole, getting past the mic, almost going over to the wheel and sitting down in the hole. He was at 63% on that. Post, which I think most tight ends run anything. That was my favorite route, running the post or the go route. Man, that's 81%. So he's good on that one for me. Anything over 80 is great, phenomenal. Curl routes, 94.6. Travis Kelce runs a ton of curl routes. That's what we do. So Kenyon Sadiq, man, is an absolute baller. He's kind of like this hybrid type of guy. He really is. You put him out there, split. You don't really have him attached to by the tackle on the line of scrimmage. He's out in space. People have talked about, he could be kind of your tweener where you put him in slide, you put him outside, he could do a lot of different things because he's just a weapon. You bring him in as an athlete, how he's being rated, he's going to be high up there. 4'3", 43 vertical, he's got explosion, he's got speed, he's got all of it. He does. My thing is we have Travis Kelce this year. We got other guys behind him that can still play. There's guys we get later on the draft that can play tight end, that do a very good job catching the football, getting up the seam, all those different things, can block in line. And then also, too, same thing. Is there somebody coming out next year? There's another question that you have to wonder about. And there's going to be. So I like Kenyon Sadiq. Like I said, man, you look at him, he's everything that is advertised. So what do y'all think?
The one question I wanted to ask you, right, because we look at tight ends and kind of the archetypes. If Kelce were to go, I mean, Kelce, you could probably say is our best blocking tight end right now on our team. And once he's gone, we talk about it's going to be hard. You're not going to find a person who's an apples to apples replacement for Kelce. But as far as bringing in a tight end, where is his blocking when you with your Jason Dunn goggles on? When you look at the blocking, is that something you're kind of like worried about? Can that get better at the next level? What do you think? What do you think about that? His blocking level?
I mean, I think he does a great job in open field. I mean, he's smashing DBs. He'll go up on linebackers. I think he's very physical. For me, kind of inline blocking is one of the things I look for. I don't think he has any problem as far as meeting the physicality of the NFL at all. I think if anything, he'll step 2 feet right into it and plunge with no problem. This is something that blocking is something that like a will and a want to. So are you willing? That's one. Do you want to? And if you're not shying away from it, then that's all you need to see. And I think he provides all those things. I think he's one of those guys that he relishes in trying to destroy players. He's just a physical guy. I mean, you ain't throwing up 26 bench presses and, 4-3-9, 11-1 broad jump, and you backing up from somebody. If you look, our coach used to say it the best. Look like Tarzan, play like Jane, okay? The man looks like Tarzan, man. He plays like Tarzan. You hear me? So I don't think there's any problem with that at all.
Yeah. That's the one thing when I look at Sadiq, right? The athletic, he's an athletic freak. You see the numbers there. I mean, he flashed the combine, it's awesome. Like he looks like an action figure, and he looks like Tarzan, like you said, doesn't play like Jane. So he's got all that. The only thing for me, the kind of drawback is tight ends, Kelce, I mean, has had his drop problems per se. I guess, but for him, he's getting a lot of targets. So when you get a lot of targets, you get a lot of drops. Now, he's not being targeted a lot. And the one drawback for me was his drop rate. They get an 11% drop rate, charged with 6 drops on 54 catchable targets, which is relatively high for a guy who's really not getting that many targets. And the way Oregon's offense goes, he's not the tight end's not really a pivotal part of that offense. But for the one thing that kind of scares me about him, if we do draft him at 9, hopefully maybe falls to 29. But if we do draft him at 9, that's a guy where it's like, oh man, like I would love for my tight end to be more of a, a guy who it can be trusted when he's targeted as much as a tight end is targeted in our offense. If you just look at how Kelce's been utilized, I have to imagine if you do draft Kenyon Sadiq at number 9, he's going to be utilized in that same facet going forward. Maybe not this year, but next year. And the drop rate kind of scares me with that. What do you make of that?
Well, it is. One of the things they also said, Matt, is that, he don't really get too much separation, which is kind of shocking as much as, as he should. And that's just being crafty. Sometimes you just take out your speed, man. It's craftiness. Travis Kelce ain't the fastest guy, but he's crafty. That's the thing about it. That's what makes him good. I call him the rubber band man. He's not going to get hit. He's going to be able to move around guys, and he'll hit you with that slow step, the Euro, right, in football, just to get around you. And that's what wins. But for somebody like Kenyon Sadiq, for what I see, man, he's got pretty good hands. He'll go up and go get it. I don't think as far as like the drops, especially what we ask him to do, Marcus, from let's just say what we've given Travis Kelce. Travis is sitting down in windows and holes, okay? And he is really running to get open, a lot of it. And he does a very good job of it. He sets guys up. Now, this is something Sadiq has to learn. He has to learn when you got one-on-one, how do you get open with a guy? How do you separate? Because the thing is, when you get into the NFL, these guys are fast. All these guys are fast. And so that's why you're up 6'3", 241, a big line. You're big as a linebacker. Linebackers they're going to go and try to take your head off coming across on a crossing route. They're going to check you quite a few times. And so if they knock you off the route, how you, if athletically to stand up or get through that is really kind of where we want to see, what he can move to. But I don't really have any issues as far as like that per se. But if you're sitting there saying curl routes, that was his biggest baby in college, what he was able to do. I mean, we do a whole lot of that. Flat routes, out routes, he'll win on those things. Go routes, corners, yes. I guess the one, like I said, basic, trying to do that, man. We don't really. That's more kind of a West Coast offense kind of scheme to get guys open, But there shouldn't be anything there.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Tage. What do you think?
It's really Sadiq's a really weird prospect because every time I hear there's people, no one's really sour on him. You don't ever hear anyone say anything bad about him for the most part. But the people who are in love with him, they don't project him to be a typical tight end. They actually want, most people, the big Sadiq fans, want him to be drafted to a team that already have a good tight end on it because they want to be able to just move him everywhere. He actually played a lot in motion. He played a lot in the backfield. He led block a lot of motion blocking, a lot of they just used him everywhere. And most of the time you see people projecting to go to good offensive minds because those are the guys who are going to use him the best way, and use him in such a way where the defenses don't know how to line up against you when he's out there. I mean, you put him in the backfield like a fullback position. How the hell? I mean, how are you going to adjust to that? I mean, linebackers can't stay with him for the most part. Safeties aren't really big enough for him for the most part. So it's just he's a matchup problem. So I think their point is you're not going to get the best out of him. He's just your tight end one, and you just put him out there traditionally. You want to be able to have a tight end out there and then have him be your other guy. You just move around as a chess piece and just try to find mismatches everywhere. That's the one thing that scares me a bit about taking him at 9 is that Reed might daydream thinking about the ways to use him and the ways to camouflage his schemes. So that's interesting to me. In general, I mean, I don't want him at 9. I'll be honest. I think you'll probably have to get him at 9 or trade back slightly to get him. I don't think he's going to last. I've seen some mocks take him at 29. I don't think he's going to last 29. I think someone before then is going to fall in love with his athletic profile alone. I think the biggest drawback with him really, it's not that he played poorly or anything. It's that I think everyone wants more out of him based on his athletic profile. Like you wanted more in some routes. You wanted more separation because you look at the guy and he's made out of a lab. You're like, well, if you're made out of a lab, I want you to be better than what you are. And it's not what it is isn't bad. I just think you should be up here. And that's the way people describe his yak. It kind of leaves you wanting more. He blocks well, but he doesn't maintain them as long as you think he should because of his strength. His route tree could maybe be better, but they didn't utilize him. They kind of utilize him in a weird way. But I think it's just because he's such a polarizing, dynamic athlete. I think most people just get carried away with fantasizing on how to use him perfectly. And I think he'd have to be used absolutely perfectly by whoever drafts him to get the most out of him. You're not just going to add him. He's just going to tear it up. I think you have to kind of tailor make a game plan for him. You can't just say, all right, you're just going to be our tight end. Go out there and line up where the last guy lined up. I don't think you can do that with that. You can do that with him, but I don't think they get the best out of him, especially like a number 9 or a number 13 or 15. Yeah. I don't know if that would get the best out of him. So that's my biggest concern is just his on the field production doesn't match his athletic profile. And it's a big bet at 9 for me. So I don't have a problem with the prospect. I have a problem with taking that prospect at 9. Yeah. And there was one report, I forgot who said it. I think it was McShay. He said there was a report during the season that he wasn't getting the ball because of bad practice habits, and it became public, and then he completely turned it around and then looked, tight end number 1 from there on out rest of season, which I didn't love. But you know what? He turned it around in season. It's fine. And his comps, I mean, one of them is obvious. You can probably guess who one of his comps is, Vernon Davis. I think that's like what he could be if everything works. And then the other one, which isn't bad, is Tommy Tremble, because he has a similar size profile to him, similar game.
I like Tremble out of college too, man.
And Tremble, you third round pick. He was no slouch.
Yeah.
So I think those are the 2 comps that I saw that I like the most. So is he probably somewhere in between there, right? In between those 2?
Well, No, actually, there's two names. One recently, I think they want to utilize him as, and you were just saying this, as like this other tight end, like a Harold Fanning Jr., right? Like Cleveland uses him. And they use him everywhere, utilize him. I mean, he's got great hands. He can do a lot of different things. I'm going to tell you another one that y'all probably agree with after I say it is Aaron Hernandez. Like in New England. This is really prototypical Aaron Hernandez. This is who this guy can be. In an offense like that, that's what Bill Belichick knows. We're going to utilize Aaron Hernandez everywhere. We're going to line him up everywhere, and we're going to do it's all about matchups. And so a guy like this, that's what you're banking on, is the guy that he's going against, he's just going to beat. He's going to beat him either physically or he's just going to beat him because he's just faster than him. So some of the craftiness is something that he can learn from Travis Kelce as far as like getting open and, shoring up his route running ability, right? I mean, and a lot of that is really, that's coachable, it's teachable, as long as he's willing to learn it. With a guy like this, that athletic, because he has quickness, that's what he has a gift of. Sometimes, man, when you have speed, you got to slow down. And that's part of the problem. You got to slow it all down in your head a little bit, because you just want to go. And he's just a muscle. He just wants to go. So
tempo your route, everything.
Man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think he probably lacks a little of that refinement. Mm-hmm. You need that coaching. That's what I'm saying too. I think that's why I don't like him at 9. There's just a lot of too much betting and too much projection happening for at 9 for me. Mm-hmm. And we don't necessarily need that this year. So it's like if you desperately needed that this year, then projection. Sure, I trust our coaching staff. I trust Reed to deploy him in the right way. And I think, like you said, the Aaron Hernandez, I think he's going to need a lot of manufactured touches. Yeah. Just quick bubble screen, quick slant, quick curl, like just a quick jet motion, just pitch him the ball. A lot of like interest, like that's the way they use Aaron Hernandez. It wasn't like a typical game plan they had for him. They had a whole set of plays, just Aaron Hernandez plays.
Right. Yeah.
Very hard.
Backfield, slide anywhere.
Just get the ball in his hands, let him go. Like that's pretty much what you want to do. So I mean, I can see that, but again, it is projection, and I totally and I wouldn't be furious because we have Reed, because I have faith that Reed, if he picks him at 9, it's because Papa's got a brand new bag coming for that game plan on Sundays. And it's because he's got a whole new like scheme he's going to roll out and a lot of new alignments, a lot of new looks for him. So that's the one thing why I wouldn't be truly upset. That's not what I'm rooting for. That's not what I want at 9.
And you'd also have a guy who's definitely going to be the fill the void of Kelce going forward. You say it's not neat this year, but he was a guy who could come in and be that Kelce.
True.
I'm not saying he's going to be Kelce, but I'm saying he's going to fill that void of Kelce moving forward too. That he was the heir apparent.
Yeah, it's true.
All right. Another thing too with him, just because you talk about like how he kind of got better through the years. I know you made a comment about the coaching staff during the year, but when he first arrived on Oregon's campus, he was weighing like 220. He was kind of like a wide receiver body. He became 245, whatever he is now, and then he was running a 4.69 at a high school. Ends up running a 4.39 by the time he gets to his last year in college. So like you see a hard worker, right? So that's a big thing.
He played safety and receiver in high school, and he ran a 11.04 100-meter dash.
Wow. Pretty good. Good pickup speed. Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're going to stick with tight ends. We're going to go to Max. We got multiple tight ends here, guys. Okay.
Hey, Klare. I mean, what's the name of Monday's show, baby? Come on now. I mean, come on. When I say the guys got their own tight ends, I mean they got their own tight ends. Okay, Max Klare. So a little more of the round that I'm happy about going tight end in and not going for 9 overall. So Klare is a very interesting prospect because it's a tale of 2 tapes. It's if you're looking at Ohio State or if you're looking at Purdue. He played a bit lighter at Purdue. He was the number 1 tight end going into the year because of his Purdue tape. He was their offense. Not the case in Ohio State, because you went to a place, and bless him for doing this, You went to a place with 2 top 10 receivers probably for the next 2 years between Tate and Smith. So that your numbers are going to go down. Now, what he did get better at because of this was blocking. And I think it actually helped him become a more well-rounded prospect. And it also helped him become available later for Kansas City because his numbers did go down a bit. And because of that, he's kind of in that bunch with all the other tight ends in that second, third round area, right? He could separate. He became a pretty good blocker this year, serviceable blocker. Great in the open field. He has a seamless transition from catcher to runner. A good chip and late release guy. Long speed's not great. It's not elite. He's not explosive, but a good all-around athlete. Like when I watch him out there, I never thought his speed was a problem. He got away from guys. He made people move. It actually kind of reminded me of it's got a little Cincinnati Kelsey in that, because he was also criticized for his long speed too, not being the fastest guy. But when I watch his highlights from Cincinnati when he was coming out, I was like, it's fine. He's not like, if he's a 4-4 player, he'd be a first round, top 15 prospect, just like Sadiq is. Stays square as a blocker. I think he maximizes his strength as much as he can to become a decent blocker. Mostly open space blocking. I think he's a good starting tight end in the NFL. I think he slipped on boards because he took a back seat to two of the better receivers in college football. I think his yak's great. I think he's one of the better yak tight ends in the class. I think he's elite separator for a tight end and getting away from people at the top of your routes, which is really good. It's a really good skill to have. Getting away from being able to slip away from people and separate the top of your routes and having really good yak ability, I think are just very NFL traits, and they'll translate. He understands coverages, fluid, I think was the word I was looking for earlier with not being really fast. He's a fluid mover, though. He doesn't look clunky when he runs the ball, especially with the ball in his hands. So I think he's going to be around a late day 2 guy, or looking like a late day take. So if a team loves him, I think he'll go end of the second round. If a team loves him, I think he's more firmly entrenched in the top 80 to 90, top 100 player, probably third round. It really depends if someone's projecting him from his Purdue film or if people are kind of getting attached to his underutilized Ohio State film. I would love him at pick 74. I'd love him in the third round. I think it'd be great. And his comps are Laporta, Zach Ertz, and McBride. So very, very high. I think his absolute best case scenario. But you could see it when you watch him. You can see that style of play to him. I think that quick transition from catcher to runner, it's got a lot of McBride to me. Just the way he just catches it and just goes right outfield and becomes I'm looking to hit somebody and just try to jump over, tries to hurdle a lot. So yeah, I think he's got a little of those guys in him. So I'm a fan.
I'd say I look at him. He's probably what I have him projected is my 4th tight end on the board, 4th or 5th. He's usually around there. Very, very talented guy. He really is. Runs great routes, like you were talking about. You were just talking about separation. You could tell he's prototypical tight end type of guy. And we were talking about what that separation really looks like on the field. When you run routes, you want to have guys on your hips. And when you get a guy on your hip, you have him at a certain point. It's just he's just trying to catch up. Before tight end, if I get, side by side with you, then you're beat. At least for me, I was sitting there thinking I got you now. If I'm side to side, you're done. Because I know I'm going to run past you. But also, too, I know I can even put my foot in the ground, and then I can just work you any way I want to. That moment, I could put you in the spin. And so Max does a great job of doing those things, man. He's really athletic. I do like what he brings to the game. Like you said, serviceable as far as blocking. He's not a really strong guy. But he kind of looks like tight ends is coming out now. That's just what he is. And that's what you're breeding pretty much from here on out. More so, kind of this slot kind of tight end, catching the football, not going to do a whole lot of the dirty work. You're not going to get George Kittle with a guy like him. But I think he's a decent tight end. The question I have is, like, when you look at the 2025, you were talking about his production, 43 receptions, that you start thinking like, okay, well, shoot, you at Ohio State, you should be looking more like you were like at Purdue, like you said. And so what does that mean? Does that mean that he is like a Sam Laporta? I don't know. Trey McBride, geez, you use some really great names now. Zach Ertz. Geez, I was like, goodness gracious. But he is a good tight end. Like I said, 70. Possibly. Yeah. Like I said,
I think if he stayed at Purdue, he'd be a top 40 pick.
Yeah.
That's not to say he got worse at Ohio State. It just means he didn't put out the stats he did because he had two top 10 picks who demanded the ball more than he did.
Yeah. So that's hard, man. You only got one football. It's all going around.
Hey, kudos to him for making that change, though. Confident man, confident guy.
Yeah. So that's the reason I was saying that. Is there other guys that I do like a tight end? Yes, but I mean Max is right up there, man. Top 5 tight end for real, for sure. Top 5.
And that whole second, third round area has so many tight ends to it.
Yeah.
I think we should come away with whoever their favorite one is. We should come away with one in that second to fourth round tight end range.
Mm-hmm. 2 guys I'll name already. Just that if we were looking for just a receiving tight ends and heir apparent to Travis Kelce, 2 guys right off the bat, Eli
Stowers,
and then Michael Trigg are those 2 guys. So that's what I like.
Yeah, the thing that stood out to me, I know I brought up the drop rate with Sadiq, but 4% drop rate this past year, only 2 drops on 53 targets for Max Klare, so that's a huge thing. Contested catch rate, 67%, 4 for 6 this year. So, I mean, two things that check off the box for me as far as a tight end. I want a guy who's going to be secure catching the ball. And it's just an interesting thing, just, because we love to motion our tight ends all over the place. I did love this. Inline alignment, 46.5% of snaps for him. Slot alignment, 40.1% of snaps. And then wide alignment, 13.4% of snaps. So a perfect guy for an Andy Reid offense. A guy can play all over the place on the offense. So I do like that. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting. If you watch his Purdue tape versus Ohio State tape, it's just like 2 totally different offenses, which, it's good to see, especially in this, the NIL and, moving to the NFL, you are going to be playing in a different offense. So he already has that kind of, being able to play in multiple different schemes. I do like that from a standpoint of his. And also too, it took a lot of marbles to do that, bet on himself to go to a different place and to go to Ohio State, right? When you have a million receivers over there, you're going to a place where you're not going to be the focal point of the offense anymore. You're going to be the 4th or 5th target, which he was. And now we're talking about him being in the 3rd or 4th round because of it. So,
and to be fair, I mean, his stats went down this year, but in a down year, he only had 100 less yards than Sadiq, and Sadiq was supposed to be the focal point of his offense with a top 5 quarterback, by the way, with Dante Moore. Yep. So, a down year, he did it with he had 100 less yards than Sadiq with 2, again, top 7 receivers on his team. So it's not easy.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to go to the defensive side of the ball. Brandon Cisse. So Cisse, I think we've talked about pretty much a lot of the top cornerbacks already on these Monday shows. I think Tage did a few of them last week or 2 weeks ago, Terrell, and all those dudes. Cisse, another guy in that same late, probably 29th, I would say, probably the 29th to 40 range where Cisse would be. But Cisse allowed 18 receptions on 26 targets across 500 snaps. Quarterbacks targeting him posted a 78.9 passer rating, which tells you, I mean, disrupting timing, shrinking windows, just doing a lot to kind of muddy things up for quarterbacks. He finished with 7 pass breakups and interception last year, but his forced incompletion rate was amongst the best in college football last year. pretty good to have a guy who's going to be involved a lot and messing up things up for the quarterbacks. Athletic profile, 4'4", 40, 41-inch vert. Obviously shows you speed as well as a guy who's going to be around the ball, has an knack for it. But his big thing is the most underrated stat for him is his run defense. Cisse graded in the top 2% nationally among corners against the run, which is rare, but also a thing that we like to see from cornerbacks, right? Whether it was McDuffie, whether it was Snead, we had guys who wanted to be around the ball and wanted to come up and make tackles in the run game. So not just a cover guy, but a guy who's going to make noise in the run game. If you watch his game, very, very, very physical guy. He had a 75.2 PFF grade, which not bad. But overall, as far as versatility, the numbers are there. And as far as a guy who, we talk about not just good cornerbacks, but guys who do kind of create that Spags vibe, he's another one of those guys. And I do think this is why, for me, it's like when people say, oh, we should go get Mansour to land at number 9. It's like, well, it's pretty deep in this class for cornerbacks, but it's deep in this class as far as cornerbacks who fit our mold of kind of guys that we want. And there's a lot of them. So I feel like I keep saying every time I come across cornerback, man, this guy really fits our prototype of guy. And also bigger body, 6 foot, 188. He's a big body guy. Have him and Knoll together. Be kind of nasty with Christian Fulton coming in as well. Cisse would be a guy that I'd really be a fan of at pick 29. What are your guys' thoughts on Brandon Cisse?
I like him a lot, man. I do. I do see him, somewhere around that 40th pick. 29th, there's some other guys up there too. It is a deep class. That's the thing about it, man. I'm sitting over thinking like, man, shoot, we can move on to this guy. This guy right here, he's another one that could come and play in this system. The good thing about it, like whatever people have hangups with where his development is, lack of it, like recognition of routes and all those different things. He'll learn that with Spags and Dave Merrick. And that's the thing about it. When I look at this, I don't look for a finished product. Those guys in the first round are finished products. You know what I mean? Those are guys that, like, hey, man, you come in, this is what we do. You know how to do it. I'm going to leave you alone. Cisse over here, he's one of those that you just need to refine what he can do. He's got the physical tools. He's got good speed. He plays very physical, like you said. He's a heck of a tackler. Other things is, this is now coaching him up to a certain. Now, like, look, man, you're in the NFL. We're gonna coach you up to you to be the guy that we want you to be. And so, shoot, teams love that. We see them when their guys go get paid. So we do it right here with the Chiefs. When you're talking about dealing with DB secondary, we get those guys ready. I say we get them ready for to go somewhere else in the league because that's what ends up happening. They always go somewhere else. So, maybe we'll retain one corner here and there soon. But Cisse, man, he definitely he's got all the tools, man, in the making for real. Be a good player.
Tej.
So yeah, I think he measured in 5'11" and change 190. So he's not huge. I wouldn't say he's a big guy, but he looks bigger than that when you see him on the field. He looks like longer and just bigger in general. I was surprised by his measurements actually. He's a good press corner, so automatically he's on the KC radar, the KCR. I saw he might not be available at 40. He'll probably go around that range. He's versatile, which I think is really important. You can tell you watch his film because he's very quick to diagnose plays, which I really like. I like that, like a guy who's cares about his craft. He knows about pre-snap alignment, and that's why he's good at diagnosing. He knows how to play a guy to where the help is. I think that's also important, especially in a Spags defense. He doesn't panic. A really cool stat, which probably my favorite stat of his, was he allowed just 0.5 career yards per snap in the slot. Only Cooper DeJean fared better since 2019.
Oh, wow.
So that's a good stat, which means, hey, on top of being a good press corner, we'll kick your ass inside sometimes too to be a slot demon. Because we love that kind of versatility, right? His run defense was weird because I kept reading he was a good run defender, but then I saw he had a 14.3 missed tackle rate in 2025. And then someone had a couple of clip show plays of him completely ducking out of tackles and like just some whiffing almost on purpose. He almost like, yeah, the plays are out there. I was like, really? Because I was like, wait a minute, hold on. And I did a little more research. I was like, well, it says he's a really good run defender. I mean, look, everyone has lapses where they do that. He probably got his ass handed to him by the coaching staff, and maybe he came and showed up the next week. So yeah, I heard he does fight through blocks. He provides good run support. But then I saw some clips of him avoiding tackles, like blatantly avoiding tackles. Footwork needs a little refinement, but he's not a top 15 cornerback prospect, so he's going to have some things like that. Now, one of the comps I saw for him was surprising because I thought he was a lot bigger, and maybe he just looked bigger. But Aqib Talib was one of his comps, and I thought Talib was like bigger than that. Wasn't Talib like 6'1", 6'2"?
Yeah,
I always thought he was big. Yeah, he was, right?
Yeah.
Again, Cisse looks bigger than he actually projects. I would personally, for me, because I don't know if he will be available, but I'm so close on him and Johnson from San Diego. I would gladly have either one of those guys at 40. But you're right, JD. Every time I was doing cornerback research, I'm like, man, do we really need Colton Hood or Terrell at 29? I mean,
Right.
Cisse and Johnson might be there at 40. And then you're like, yeah, but then if you keep going down a little further, this guy might be there at 74. That guy's going to be there at 109. And then after a while, you're like, you know what? Let's just wait on cornerback. Maybe this is why the Chiefs do it every year, because they just like there's so many guys you fall in love with. You're like, do we have to take one at 9 or 29 when you have this many prospects that fit our system that we think we can work with?
Yeah.
It's kind of a curse, right? It's a lot of pressure on Merritt, poor guy. It's like, hey, man, there were a lot of prospects available at 9 or 29, but we know you got us. You'll create that prospect with the number under a 9. It's like, great, cool. Another guy had to turn into a $40 million cornerback who was like a 5th round pick. All right, sure.
Hey, man, but Merrick's worth his salt, man. That's the reason he's up there. We get him. That's what we pay him for, right?
100%. 100%.
You're a great coach, man. You want to do those guys. You know?
Once in a while, you got to get him a higher pick. I mean, he did have McDuffie. McDuffie was a top 25 prospect. So we haven't only given him like 5th rounders. He's had some, McDuffie. So is this the year we get the McDuffie, or is this the year that we're like, you know what? I don't think we need a McDuffie. Let's create our next McDuffie. And I think there are a lot of guys in the show. I think cornerback's extremely deep. So yeah, I like Cisse. I like a lot of guys in this range. I probably lean Johnson, but I like Cisse.
Yeah, the biggest knocks I saw on Cisse were penalty risk, because he's very aggressive. So there's a lot of penalties for being aggressive, which, I mean, honestly, it's a knock-ish. I want my cornerback to be aggressive. Apparently, he got that bites on double moves. So the aggression and the double moves are the two things that I saw a lot with him. And the run, like I said, I mentioned the run, his run defense stat, which is great. Tackle technique was something that I saw. He has lapses in tackle technique. That was the thing. So maybe that ties together with the run.
Yeah.
I mean, his run grade was pretty good. So
I heard he peeks into the quarterback too much, which can get him into trouble. So maybe maybe he's peeking at the quarterback on some of those double moves.
yeah, and Merritt will fix him up.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our next one. We got Zachariah Branch. This is a guy I was a huge fan of coming out of high school to USC. He was freaking awesome in high school and college too.
Man, I'll tell you what. I'm trying to get this to you, Marcus. Because I think, man, we got to see this guy. We got to see his clip if people don't know who he is. Okay. So I'm just going here. So Zachariah Branch, okay. Oh my gosh, man! I tell you what, I love this dude. Absolutely love this guy, and there's a reason for it. I know we've kind of played around getting Tyreek Hill back here in Kansas City, and he's working out, and what his knee, we don't know what it's going to look like. But man, when I tell you, if there's any player that has chosen a game to be just like Tyreek Hill, I see Zachariah Branch being that guy. I really do. I mean, you see a lot of it. I mean, he was number one receiver, like you said, Marcus, coming out from high school. People wanted this guy because of his dynamic, his moves, being elusive. He even runs like Tyreek to me. When I'm watching him, he runs like Cheetah. He may not have the top tier speed as Cheetah. He ain't too far behind, but I'm telling you, man, he can pick him up, put him down with the best of them. And so I just, man, when I'm looking at a guy that could come in and do exactly what we asked him to do in a Eric Bieniemy and an Andy Reid offense, Zachariah Branch is that guy. I mean, he's from backfield. You line him up in a slot. He'll hit his head on the goalpost. He'll take it to the house. He'll make 2 or 3 people miss. He'll pull away from DBs. Runs great routes. Sometimes, and he's kind of a body catcher. He'll catch balls outside of himself, but for him, he's just trying to secure the ball. I don't have no problem with it. Watching Tyreek catch 9 routes, jumping up in the air, catching in his belly. I mean, he just wanted to secure the ball. And I'm just like, as long as you catch it, that's all that matters to me. Because once you get it in your hands, then that's when the show starts. And that's what you see with a guy like Zachariah Branch. But look at it. He's 5'9", 177, 44.35. I've seen him. He squatted, I think it was like almost 600 pounds. That was in high school coming out. I watched the video of him doing it. You talking about impressive? I was counting the Cadillacs. I'm like, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my gosh. And he went down and came back up. This is in high school, y'all. This is what he was doing. Man, I tell you what, man, this dude right here is exciting, absolutely exciting player. Marcus, I'm trying to let me get this video too, because I want everybody to see it, man. Dang God. So
yeah, I like I said, I was a huge fan of his coming out of high school when he went to USC. I think one of his first touches was a return to the house in his first game at USC. That he was there when Caleb Williams was there for one of those years.
Oh yeah.
I mean, right at the gate, and not only does he give us juice as far as return, and obviously they use him in the run game, but the return game, I believe he was a former Jet Award winner at the nation's top returner. Branch's multiple career return touchdowns on both punts and kicks, and that's something we talked about it. Like we haven't really found a consistent guy to be back there. We thought we had Nico to do that. Nico kind of took a downturn last year. To have a guy who could give you contributions in the return game as well as in the receiving and the run game. Most of his catches were behind the line. So this past year, nearly 66% of his college production, or just in general, nearly 66% of his college production came behind the line of scrimmage or on short routes. So very what we like to do, right? We could say we're going to change our identity and all this stuff, but this is what it is.
we are who we are, okay? We are. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay, because it's been successful. But the thing is, he can do a lot. His route tree is not limited either. He can run a lot of good routes. One-on-one, he gets separation, slant routes. I mean, you name it. He's got the full route tree at his disposal, and he can do all of them. The thing is, like you were saying before, you get 2 birds with 1 stone with this guy. You truly do, right? You're not trying to keep him on a roster, taking a roster spot because you just want to be a return man. So here you got a guy who could legitimately come in, play that slot guy, right? We talk about guys just playing slot in those positions. He is a guy that is exciting with the ball in his hands. And you're looking at Rashid Rice, Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton, Zachariah Branch, Jalen Royals. He fits right in exactly what we do. He does. Now, with our running game, Travis Kelce, we're looking like that those Chiefs putting 30-some points up a game. We're looking like that offense all over again.
Yeah, and not only talk about the how he's gotten 66% of his touches behind the line or short routes, 80% of his career receiving yards in college were yak. So and I know some people say because I've seen people because I've seen some mocks where people taking him, and I've seen some people say, "Oh, we already have Xavier Worthy on the team." Xavier Worthy is not that. I know people because he's fast and small. He doesn't mean he's Tyreek Hill, and doesn't mean he's Michael Hardman. Doesn't mean he's Zachariah Branch. skill sets are just very different. They're both small stature guys, which is something that, we like small stature guys. We're fast, but they're very different, and they aren't redundant skill sets. A lot of people think they are. They're not. If anything, they've tried to make Xavier Worthy a little bit more like this, and that's not his game. Let Xavier Worthy be Xavier Worthy, and let Zachariah Branch be this, what we're talking about here, at 80% of his yards being yak and quick short routes, and let Xavier Worthy be, because he has an expansive route tree, which I think we've, tried to dumb it down for him to be more of his, gadget guy, and that's not really what he is. This guy is that, and I think that would be great. And also, too, if we want to talk about track record, when JD picks a receiver to talk about on these shows since we've been doing the show, those guys have panned out. Tank Dell, Romeo Dobbs, and Tez Johnson, who came on the scene in the middle of the year last year for Tampa, and a lot of people were like, "Whoa, who's this guy?" And we knew about him on this show because JD saw him and he was like, "That's a guy I want." So I'm not joking. JD, when he calls out a receiver on this show for these rookie prospect shows, they're generally pretty good.
So. Sir, look, I've seen some big bodies. I played with a lot of tall receivers, smaller guys, like Dante Hall. I mean, I know exactly what an offense looks like, what it needs with a guy when you have an exciting player like that, man, and their projection. But Zachariah Branch, man, I tell you what, man, he's as close to Tyreek Hill as you could possibly get.
100%. Tej, what are your thoughts, buddy?
It's funny when you brought him up that you were going to do him. I actually had to start looking into him because I didn't really look into him that much because I just thought this whole time we were going to maybe go after just a different kind of receiver, more like a technician, like a man beater, zone beater. He's kind of like that manufactured bubble screen, jet motion, dynamic slot player guy. There's nothing wrong with that. Your boy Kuiper has him as a first-round grade. He has him as a top 25 player. You're talking about guys like Zay Flowers, great comp. Yeah, so that's a really good comp for him. Actually, when I was watching him play, I saw a lot of Zay Flowers in him. I think he's a dynamic slot player. Questions maybe a little about the downfield. I think Zay was a better downfield target than Branch has projected, and Zay was late first, so there's a reason for that. And Marcus, you hit it. Yeah, he's line of scrimmage around there. Great burst playmaker. I think with his playmaking ability and what he does with the ball in his hands and the return addition to all that, because like they say, kick return now is just your first play on offense nowadays. So get a guy who can play your first down on offense 4 to 6 times a game, right? I think, he's projected to go somewhere top 40. So if we're going to get him, it'd be 29 or 40. There's just so many guys. This draft's, I knew it was the strength, but as you keep going over guys, you keep saying, oh, man, they're about to go in that 25 to 40 range. It's such a strength, that little range there. I'm so happy to have 2 picks in that range, but it makes it just so difficult to really narrow down who we're going to get. But we'll see how the board falls. But, yeah, I like Branch. I think he's good. I think he's good Rashee Rice insurance is what he is. I think we're still kind of left looking for our X, but I think he's really good Rice insurance and another guy just to give manufacturer touches to get the ball in his hands and let him do it.
Yeah. It falls right into the RPO situation that you're looking for, what we do all the time. And so we got the deep ball guys. I mean, in Tyquan Thornton, Xavier Worthy, if you want to do some more of that, you can.
Yep.
But anything you're looking deep, check down immediately right here, right? Just throw it in the window and just let him go. He does the one where he catches the football and he's turning around and he's got 2 guys around him. He just outruns them. I mean, it's like, I'm like, jeez. And it's like his awareness where the defenders are. That's another thing. Like Tyreek he could just feel guys. He didn't have to see them. He could just feel them where they was going to be at. He has that.
Yeah, it's a really good receiver class. There's so many guys I like. As much as I like a lot of the prospects in the top 10, if we were able to trade out, if none of our guys that we love are there at 9, if you're able to trade out to the mid-teens and pick up another second or early third, I would totally be in for that. There's so many guys in that top 50 range that I just think would be complete assets on our team. And he's just another one of those guys. Again, that's the strength of this draft, right? And if you don't love who's there at 9, then get the hell out of there and go back 5. Then you take a Sadiq at like 16 overall. Yeah. Then you take a Sadiq at 16 because you have another pick to get an immediate need now for. You can get a Branch in like the 2nd or 3rd round.
Well, if everybody's sitting there, from what has come out these past couple of days, they thinking about trading up to go get a guy. I'm not mad at that either. Go get the guy that you want. If you're on him that much, you want him, go get it. Because then all of a sudden it does open up the door for some of these guys right here that you might want to get on offense. You know what I'm saying? And even like corners and whatnot that like I said, you don't have to go and like, dang, God, do I have to take this dude? No, we got guys coming down the road that can do a very good job, who can come in and start right away and be effective. And so
I think you're going to see a lot of trades in this draft. I think you're going to see a lot of first-round trades in this draft because it's such a weird year with a lack of top like 10, 12 premium position talent. I think the whole traditional value chart board is not going to be abided by as much. I think you're going to see a team say, look, we want to trade back like 5 to 10 picks. Like, who's going to give us, like, what best offer are we going to get out of that? And if you have a bunch of teams saying, we'll give you a 4th, we'll give you our highest 4th for like 5 picks back. I think you might see teams do that just to get more draft capital and get a guy they like more 5 picks later. I think you might see teams do that. So, yeah, you might be contending with, like, I saw one, I know it's speculation, but someone had the Cowboys trading up from 12 to 3 and giving up a third rounder. I mean, that's insane. The draft value on that's like a first rounder, like a 3rd rounder, like a next year 4th. To do it for 1/3 is crazy. So it might be a good year to do that because you might not have to pay the premium you usually pay to move up in the top 10.
Yeah. Bloop, gone.
I mean, this is so us. You want Chiefs? There you go. There's Chiefs right there. But I will say, Kalshi does have the Chiefs as still the team to get Tyreek Hill. Well, maybe they know something we don't.
Yeah.
But yes, guys. Something else, man.
So tell you what, though, man, you better maybe put on some of that. Now he is.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was saying he put on weight at Georgia from USC.
Oh, he put on weight?
Yeah, he was very slender. I mean, obviously, he was a freshman coming out of high school and stuff. So.
Oh, okay. Well, might have to put on a little more.
I mean, 177. I mean, he's still a lot. Yeah. We're going to go to our next guy here, James Thompson Jr., which I got to say, Tej, I kind of had to I had to use a different website for this guy because there's not a lot of stuff on him. I had to try to mix and match some stuff to get information on the screen here for us.
So actually, no, I'm going to pull a JD here, and I'm going to send you something to put on screen. So I'll start talking about him, and then you can work on getting this getting this on there. Give me a second. Yeah, he's not extremely high ranked prospect, but okay, this guy's talking over it, but I'll send it to you anyway, just because he's got a lot of the good clips. Okay. Well, you give this guy good promotion. He's talking about it. So monster size, 6'5.5", 310. Ran a 5 flat 40, by the way. It's no joke. That's no joke. Guy can move. 36 reps at the bench, JD.
Yeah.
36 reps and follows it up with a 5 flat. No joke. He's got a really high RAS score. Played everywhere on the D line. He started playing DN and eventually moved to DT. Really stood out in the Shrine Bowl. Dominated one-on-ones, dominated team drills. Incredibly athletic, 79.5 run defense grade. So he's huge and knows how to use his size. He can split doubles, pretty common for him. A guy like this, you usually don't hear about. He's got a really high motor, like does not give up. His words, he's a 5-tech, knows. He said, use me anywhere on the front 5. Love it. Love the willingness there. He was asked to pretty much contain at Illinois, so he didn't really get a chance to grow as a pass rusher. That's why at the Shrine Bowl, when it was time to be like, all right, man, show us what you got, he was pulling out moves, and it was like, dude, who is this guy? That's where the buzz came from. And it showed his dominance, not only a one-on-one, but team drills were extremely impressive. He's got a really good push and pull move. Again, didn't show it a lot in school, but he showed it at the Shrine Bowl practices. So if coaches believe there's something there to develop, I'm down. I mean, he, especially right now, for the lot of sites I see, he's a 6th or 7th round prospect. So, I mean, maybe the buzz will catch up and he'll get into the 4th or 5th. But at this point, 6th or 7th round, rotational D tackle, get him fresh at that size, I'm all for it, man.
No, shoot. That's a big human being right there. Big human being. And I'm reading out some of the things they talk about his strengths, man. It said his strongest run-stopping performance came versus Ohio State teams against, really good competition. Quick read and lateral response to zone steps for O-lineman. Displays solid pop and first contact. Lands accurate hands and quickly presses the extension. You said you got some video? Turn out blocks.
Again, pass rush is not his forte.
Yeah.
Mind you. Well, that's a quick move, man. That's a nice move.
It's big body taking up space right there.
Yeah. Especially when that's not supposed to really be his forte.
Yeah. Sometimes, man, playing from inside there, I know the guards hate this because the tackles and centers aren't allowed to move. It's like you're abandoned. It's like, hey, man, there's gonna be somebody there. It's like you can do all these moves, but there's gonna be
nice
somebody
move right there. It's a nice quick move, man. So yeah, he's got the run defense. What I like about him, I think the most, is that a lot of times you have a guy who's really good at run defense, like a dominant run defender. Those guys go early if they're so dominant at run defending. Or you have the opposite. You have a guy who's not as good at run defense, but you have him in there just to pin his ears back and rush the passer, but he's more of a liability in run defense, right? Norman Lott's a good example of that, but he's so good at pass rushing that you're like, okay, he's still a 2nd, 3rd round pick. You start to get to the D tackles that have a little bit of both, and what's that balance? What I liked about him is that he's got the run defense down, and he shows the chops to get better at pass defense. Those kind of guys, in my mind, are 3rd, 4th round picks. The fact that, he is a slightly older prospect. He's 23. But the fact that he's got that profile, 6th, 7th round, in my PFF mock drafts, man, he's projected to go 260, 250, 260 overall. Our pick at 210 as a dart throw, rotational D lineman, absolutely, especially versatility, who can play D tackle and outside. Oh man, I'm totally all for it.
Yeah.
Now he went from Wisconsin to Illinois. I was reading.
Yes. He had some Keanu Benton comps.
Well, that's not bad. Looking at what elite run defense, 81 overall run defense grade from PFF, 96 ranked 96th overall, 800 qualified interior lineman. Noted for his ability to hold ground against double teams and stack and shed blockers to find the football. Honestly, we're so bare in the D line department. A guy like this, would definitely be useful later on in the draft. I do think we're going to come away with at least 3 to 4 D linemen in this draft. So
I think he'd be great if we're in the scenarios where we just kind of didn't get to D tackle because we have so many other needs and we got to them. And it's like, shoot, we didn't really get a D tackle. We didn't really get a run stuffer. We didn't get a pass rush specialist. I think he's a great guy to go to in the 6th or 7th round and be like, you know what? Let's just go Thompson. He scratches a little bit of both those itches.
Where did you come across this guy? Because he's not one of the guys. I mean, I like I said, I had to do a lot of research to like get information to make a graphic for him.
I got him from when I was doing one of my 1,005 mock drafts. I would see who's available. I would neglect D tackle a lot. I would do different things where I would hit D tackle early, and then I would try to hit D tackle like in the mid rounds, and then I'd see like who's available. So I try to see who's available in different parts of the draft. And then he was always available at our later pick. And then, you know me, I like to do trades. I like to trade out of like our 158 to like 170, but pick up like an extra like high seventh round pick. And I was like, okay, well, who's available at that? Then I'd see the range of guys, and then I started looking into each one of them to see like draft profile. I came across him around the time of like the practices for Shrine Bowl, and like his name popped up, and I was like, yeah, he's there. He's there late. So I just started deep diving him and going more. And I mean, massive, can move. And I'm really surprised he hasn't gotten more buzz.
Yeah. I mean, 6'6". I mean, strong. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you never know. A guy like this could be higher on some teams' charts. And like,
Totally.
you always see it during a draft where like, we based on the experts rankings, he's like a sixth or seventh round guy, but then you watch the draft, round 4 comes, like, oh, dude, that guy, I thought he was supposed to go round 7.
Yeah.
Like, I think the Titans guy, DK, that Shamiri DK, he was, I think the experts had him like a 6th or 7th round pick last year. He ended up going like round 4 or round 3. So the Titans got him high. Yeah.
Yeah. It just takes one scout watching him dominate those practices to be like, this guy's real, man. Like, if he's around the 5th or 6th, get him. So that's it. It just takes one guy to pound the table for him in the draft room.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to get to our next prospect. I got Ted Hurst out of Georgia State. And I believe we've already met with Ted Hurst. So this is a guy that we've already had a visit with. So obviously we're fans of Ted Hurst. So I thought seeing that, I was like, oh, okay, let's do some more research on him. So Ted Hurst, Georgia State. 6'4", 206 pounds, ran a 4.4, 240, had a 9.92 RAS score, puts him in the top 1% of wide receivers tested since 1987. So explosive, and also a guy who can play on the outside with that size and frame, 6'4", 206. 2025, put up 71 catches for 1,000 yards, had an 82 PFF grade, ranked 42nd out of 680 receivers. Hurst led the FBS with 34 receptions of 20-plus yards over the last 2 seasons. So, yeah, led the FBS with 20-plus yard catches over the last 2 seasons with 34. Talk about big play. We want big play threat. This is a guy who could give us that, as well as being a vertical threat. You have him and Tyquan. I mean, it's kind of deadly to have 2 guys like that on the outside. Red zone. So we talked about having a big body in the red zone. JD and I have been calling for that for years. So this is the type of dude for that. Hurst posted a 61.1% contested catch rate, which put him in the 95% tile nationally. Concerns, obviously, coming from Georgia State. JD, you could speak to this a little bit more. One of the things that a lot of teams are talking about, or a lot of experts talking about, is level of competition coming from Georgia State. You guys play EKU, so you know that you played at even though a small school, you still are going against talented guys, which I think is a little bit, the small school thing is a little overrated for me. If you can put up numbers, you're putting up numbers, and D1 too. We're not talking about D2 or D3. We're talking about D1. Level of competition, route tree, limited route tree, and dealing with press coverage is also a big thing for him. Obviously, that's a big deal, being on the X receiver on the outside. That'll be tough. But obviously, a guy to kind of fine-tune. You're going to have to fine-tune his stuff. But, I mean, athletically, he's there. The numbers are there. And obviously, he's put it on tape at Georgia State. So, a guy that we're already kind of interested in, because we've met with him already. So, what do you make of Ted Hurst? Have you guys done some research on him yet? And just overall, JD, the small school stuff. I mean, I think it's the first small school guy we've looked at so far on this show.
Yeah, I tend to throw it, small school out the window, man. It really is just about the competition. And what you're really missing out in the FBS is the size of the lineman, more so anything else. That's more the skill set. 4.3 is a 4.3 anywhere, right? 4.4 is a 4.4 anywhere, pretty much. And that's one thing you cannot do. You cannot coach speed. You just can't. And so with that being said, I've seen a little bit of this guy. Watched his film a little bit. He can catch the daggone football. That's for daggone sure. Steve Smith likes him too. He's a big lover of Ted Hurst.
Yeah, I like that segment.
Did it? Yeah. So I like him. I think he's one of those guys that, he give him a chance and opportunity. He's one of those who's going to be able to step up. Matter of fact, I think he's looking for that type of competition. Like, hey man, shoot, like give me some more. Let me do some more. I want to go against your best. That's what I want to be able to see. So me, coming out of EKU, that's what I wanted to see what I was going against, my competition. And so when I got there to the combine, my numbers was better than everybody else's. So that's why a guy came from FBS, was, rated the number 1 tight end in the nation at the time I was coming. So, if you got talent, man, they're going to find you. It don't matter what it is. It just doesn't. But I think he's a guy that's going to be able to come in and he's going to be able to contend with guys, because he does. He likes to go up there, man. He does just go get the football. He can catch the ball. And as long as the guy's willing to do that, then that's fine. That's all it is. That's all it is.
And talk about the drop rate too. I mean, people can say, "Oh, he's small school." Right? We talk about drops, and that's something that all Chief fans was talking about. Drops. Because we saw a lot of that last year. We've seen that a lot last few years, really. But this guy who got targeted 140 times, who's the focal point of the offense, only 7 drops. Right? So we're talking about a guy who got a lot of targets, but only 7 drops on 140 something targets last year. So like I love that. I love a guy who's not only a big dude, but a reliable hands guy who can obviously take the top off defenses and reliable hands. So
and let me say one more thing also too, kind of like the smaller school FBS, guys find themselves in those positions for different reasons. It's just different reasons why guys may go there. They might like it. Hey, I'm good where I'm at, kind of finding a home. You may be a late bloomer. It's all those different things just kind of come up. So you just go over the history of how many guys got drafted from those places, and you'll see. You start looking at Jerry Rice and all those. You start looking at it over the years, and so there's a Hall of Famers, playing at that level. So, yeah,
Rice and T.O., Mississippi Valley State and Tennessee UT chat. So, like, I mean,
come on.
Also day 2 guy projection is what people have, Matt. So round 2, round 3, we already had a visit with him, or already visited with him. So that could be something on the radar for day 2.
There's a Tony Pauline report today, actually. The consensus is right now Hurst lands in the 3rd round, but he's getting consideration in the late part of the 2nd round by the Eagles.
Ah, interesting.
Maybe future AJ Brown replacements. What that is.
I'll tell you, man. You start hearing that, and you start wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, some good and bad. He accelerates type speed quickly. He's good at tracking. He's got a good contested catch rate. He was a 0-star recruit. So to go from 0-star to work your way up to where you are now, talking about what we're talking about, it's very, very good. More or less at this point right now, he hasn't developed the full game. He's kind of a go ball specialist. That's his bread and butter. I think that's what he's going to be. We kind of already have that with Thornton, but you can never have too many of those guys. Obviously didn't play against a ton of, elite cornerback play. His drop rate you already mentioned. He dances a bit on the line of scrimmage. Here's an interesting one. So I looked up what's called a Trinity score this guy does online. It blends production, profile, draft projection into one number. His number's a 4.6. So across 10 draft classes, receivers under 5 have hit 500, at least 525 yards in the rookie season. 0. Like it's never happened. So, and because of the small school thing, because I know speed, I get that, but it's a big jump. It's a big jump going from small to NFL, right? And I think, and for anyone who saw the Steve Smith segment, he was asked a good question by Palmer, and Palmer wasn't asking. He was told this by a scout from a team. And what the scout said, with how inconsistent his ball skills are, it's hard to get better in the NFL because of that jump, it's hard to refine some of those skills because you're taking such a leap that, you might not, I guess, have time, or it might be hard to refine some of those things when you're already like on the field and just have to produce.
I disagree with that. Totally.
So did Steve Smith.
Yeah. We played the game. Why would somebody say that? That's so stupid.
What Steve Smith said was, first off, he asked him for the name and he asked him for what team he.
Right? Yeah. Who said that?
I'm not telling you that. He's like, come on. I could probably give me a few guesses. I could probably guess it. He's like, I bet you the guy saying that they don't need a number one receiver, and I bet you they already have one on their team. And I bet you they probably drafted him high because you don't have to really develop those guys as much, because a lot of those guys you pay for in the draft, they come NFL ready. Right. But I don't agree with that assessment at all, he said. But
it's the silliest thing I've heard. If I ever heard this guy say, I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, why you get guys that you want to develop if they have a high ceiling, like a guy he's going to get better. Why? Because the competition's better. That's why he's going to get better. He's just going to develop. He's going to get even better. So what he's done on the competition already, that he's already surpassed that. Okay, he has. Now he's looking for the another challenge to say, now I step my game up even more. Now I can show what I can do. And it's not really that big of a jump. It really isn't. I'm telling you, when I say when 4-4, 4-3 against guys, because DBs are running that. These guys in FBS is running 4-3s out there at corner. They got all the same skills of the guy that's playing at these big schools. Sometimes these big names don't mean a whole lot as you think. They just don't. I'm just gonna be honest. And so what you do see is sometimes guys get overrated because they are certain places. They are different. Wow, well, shoot, this guy played at LSU or he played in Michigan. I eat his lunch up. Get his lunch ate just like everybody else's. So I don't care if he played at Marshall, Mississippi Valley State, or Sister Mary the Poor. If I'm coming out there, I'm trying to ball, it don't matter who it is in front of me. And so a guy like this, Ted Hurst, he ain't worried about that. He don't care who's everybody been sitting over there gliding head and then patting on the back because you got all these different accolades. Somebody might just miss the boat on a Ted Hurst. And so a guy like this, I'm like, yeah, watch what he does then. Let's just see. But yeah, Steve Smith's like, yeah, I disagree. Yeah, I would. Any ball player would disagree with something like that. That's silly. That's a silly thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, TJ Jazzy says Georgia State is in the Sun Belt Conference, so they are not small schools.
Small school. We started using that small school moniker. I mean, this ain't like NAIA, Division 3.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's why I brought D2, D3. It's like, it's not that at all.
Not that at all.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are playing, and a lot of these guys are being poached by the big programs right now, right? I mean, shoot.
Yeah, it'd be different if you was at a place saying like it was NAIA or Division 3 or something. You only have certain scholarships, and the guys kind of coming, which is fine. I mean, you can see a lot of talent out there too.
Yeah,
but shoot, Scout saying something, man. Come on, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have interest in him, so that's a name to watch going to day 2 draft.
You probably have to get him at 40.
Yeah. We'll see what's on the we'll see what's on the board there
for that one. Tough competition for that 40 pick, man. I'll tell you what. Tough.
All right, we're gonna go to the next one, and JD's last one of the night. Gracen Halton.
Gracen Halton, man. Okay. So real quick, this guy, 6'3", 293. I sent you a video, Marcus, what this guy is. What I love about this guy is he's just a disruptor with his speed, his balance, with his quickness. He beats double teams. He beats guys single, one-on-one. They say he's a great rotational piece. When you watch him, I mean, he's wreaking havoc in the backfield with his speed and his size. 6'3", 2. I mean, that's 293. And I mean, just watch him. I mean, he's just by guys.
Quick.
He's just by him. And it's just like they can't really put their hands on him. Now, obviously, like anything else, you get a flush block on him, you're going to win. But what you see more so than anything else in a lot of these films is he's using his arms, his legs to the point where he's just getting past double teams and single blocks. He knows how to get in the hip pocket of guards when they pull. He can diagnose plays in the backfield. He does a great job just going through the mess. You just watch him on film. Like, I mean, look at this. That's better than textbook when you do it as far as playing a 3 technique. I mean, everywhere he lines up, he's just beating guys. I mean, the quickness is unreal. And so, I mean, look at that. That's – 2 guys should have been – the first block should have kicked him out. The second guy should have easily cleaned him up. He gets past both of them. That's high level. And so when you see that, you watch him on film, he keeps jumping out. Every time I was doing the mock, when I go through my mock, I go and check who the guy is. I'm like, do I have to be with this guy who's laid out? And then I start looking at his film. I'm like, yo, this dude right here is legit. He's a legit guy. And so if we address what we need to do as far as with our pass rush, which I think we will, getting a guy like this later on at the D tackle for that rotational piece, because I think that's probably also what we need too. Not just have monsters, but we need rotational pieces where we keep guys fresh. And so that's been part of our problem is some of the big guys we've gotten at defensive tackle just hadn't really been able to move. They haven't really been able to penetrate. So, I know Norman Lott, we was going to try to get him to do that. He got hurt. But this guy right here, man, he's got a good size, good hands. He's got good quickness, power, all those different things. He is a straight animal. I would love to have him on the Chiefs. You talk about Terry Warrington and all those guys, like how he was playing. This guy right here, man, he could do it probably even better.
Yeah, he when you sent me over his tape, I had done some research on him. When you sent me over his name, I done some research on him before. Very similar to Jonathan Franklin Myers is like makeup. Myers is 6'4", 288, and he's 6'3", 292. Jonathan Franklin Myers, it's a pass rushing D tackle. Yeah. Got paid this offseason. And this guy is that. And he talked about having him and O&L being able to come in and give us some juice from the interior. I would love that. RAS score 9.7, ranking among the top 70 most athletic interior linemen in the last 40 years. It's insane stuff. Okay. We talk about having the pass rush juice, which we don't have, but you add in him and you have O&L and you have Jones and you have Tonga. You have a nice mix of guys in that interior D line who can go either stop the run or rush the passer. So, yeah, there's a guy later on in the draft that I would be a huge fan of for sure.
And the thing is, because we are so efficient in what we do defensively in the system with Spags, that we don't really have a hard time against the run. We just don't. Okay, it's really against the pass in the pass rush. And so when you got a guy like this, and even if you have him in the run, he's going to be great at it. He's going to be great at it. So I think this guy, man, it fits the bill and what we need for a guy like that playing at the position.
Tage, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's another interesting guy. I read so many conflicting reports on him, right? Like I read he's a complete liability at the run, and then his run grade was like 86, 87 last year. And then I read he'll just get thrown around the NFL. But then I read something else that said that Proctor couldn't move him from Alabama, and he outweighs him by like 70 pounds. So, I mean, he's got an anchor. He can anchor. So it's not that he can't play. I guess some people are just expecting him just to kind of fall apart and just be too small in the NFL. But, I mean, he looks like he has a pretty good anchor if you can hold up against a 365-pound tackle. But his plays, he's quick, man, and he's got really good closing speed. Oh, yeah. You see him like I saw him do some like delayed like rushing, where he kind of sat back for a minute and then just shot up, just nailed the quarterback, just really fast. I saw, what was the stat I saw? So DT prospects in PFSN's top 100 who posted an 8% pressure rate or higher in 2025. He's second highest on that list at 13%. Extremely good. 8.5 sacks last 2 years. He's another guy who's lineman versatile, right? I mean, with that kind of size, he wouldn't be an undersized edge rushing.
No.
Be pretty good. He's I think only weighs like maybe 15 more pounds than Ruben Bain's playing weight this season. So he's not that much bigger than even Bain. during the season at least, not during the combine. I think Bain lost a little weight to be a little lighter. But high effort, another high effort guy, 10% stop rate as a run defender. I think the negatives against him are based on the scale that you're giving to a first-round D tackle, which is like full-time D tackle. I don't think he's a full-time D tackle, at least not right now. I think he develop into a Franklin Myers. That's fantastic. I think people are looking at his low lights and seeing him get like hit up on a lot of run plays. He does get lit up by bigger guards. But yeah, I would like him in the rotation. I think he'd be a great rotational piece. He is, I think, a fourth round comp. So it's not too late. Mm-hmm. So there are some guys out there that are pound the table for him. There's a lot of guys out there who are a little more hesitant on projecting him because of his size and getting thrown around by guards. But I think he'd be good on a fourth round would be great. Third round's maybe a little too rich for me, but fourth round would be great as a rotational piece.
Yeah, and it's definitely a position of need for us. So, 100%.
Yeah, I guess it really depends on what you're using it for, and we need that pass rush more than anything else, man. Get into it, and like his speed, he disrupts the backfield a lot. So,
give me Halton in the fourth and Thompson in the seventh, man. You don't have to go first round D tackle all the time. You get two guys like that just play your rotation. And those two guys can play anywhere on the line too. You can move them around everywhere.
That's true. And having Chris Jones at your D tackle, at your main D tackle spot, allows you to kind of have mix in guys that the other D tackle spot, guys like Halton or Thompson.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to Tata's last guy of the night, Kage Casey from Boise State.
Yeah, let's do it. The Cage. I mean, don't you want an offensive lineman named Cage? Come on now. I mean, okay, so 6'6", 310, 41 starts, extremely experienced. 41 starts at left tackle. He started left tackle since his red shirt freshman year, okay? Gave up, believe 0 pressures last year. Just under 33-inch arms, which is his knock. Doesn't have the crazy length. So there are some out there who project him to guard. But just like the two tackles in this draft, Maui Noah and Fano, a lot of people project those guys to have to move to guard. So it's not that much different from those guys, really, and you're getting him in like the fourth round, third or fourth round. So I also think he's good enough to try a tackle first. And if he fails there, you got a starting guard for 8 years, okay? But I think he's good enough, and he's earned it by 41 starts at left tackle at Boise State to get a shot at tackle because of what he brings and his positives to me. Just like it makes me say, okay, draft him. Kind of like what I was saying earlier when we were talking about Jalen Moore. If Jalen Moore looks like garbage after 6 weeks, I think you could plug him in there. I think he'd be fine for 6 weeks. With that kind of experience, he's a technician. He's physical. He can move off. He's quick off the ball. I loved his posture, and I love the way he's just really upright in his stance. You'll see that when you watch him, Jay. I don't know if you saw any of him, but his posture and the way he anchors it, even against bigger guys, because he is susceptible sometimes. He gets a little off balance to speed to power rushers, but he re-anchors, and then you see him like plop down, and they stop moving him. There are a couple like I watched Good Reps, Bad Reps by, I forgot who the guy was, and he was going over his bad reps. But even though as the dude was watching his bad reps, he was like, well, actually, this really wasn't that bad of a rep. I mean, it started bad, but he recovered and ended up anchoring before he got to the quarterback. I'm like, so his bad reps are good reps? So, I mean, fires off the block, really good dry blocker, can get beat around the edge. I mean, that's not even like a knock. Let's be honest here. If you're not a first-round tackle, you're getting beat. Even some of those guys get beat. He's got quick feet, but he doesn't have really long strides coming out of the set. And I think that can hinder him a little bit because, I mean, he's quick enough, but he just doesn't have these really long strides to get in position before guys get at him. But high IQ, great hand placement, great grip strength. Two of those major strengths are there besides experience. So he played over 2,700 snaps Allowed 6 pressures and 0 sacks in 2024. 80 block grade, 80 run grade. Very stout, understands angles. Let's see. Lowest pressure in the MWC. He killed it in Senior Bowl week. Had a really nice rep against Lee Hunter, who a lot of people like. Played everywhere on the line. They tried him everywhere because when people think you might be a guard, you're going to be asked to play everything. So bottom line for me and him, he's got a really high floor, and I think we can use that on our O-line. And I think with Trey Smith's high number, a right tackle vacancy after next season, Stuamate, a good promising year, but if he regresses at all, we're in trouble at left guard, right? I mean, we're in trouble there. We're not ecstatic about the Caliendo re-signing. So if our left guard struggles, we're going to have a pretty rough time. So he's someone that you can bring in that can play anywhere along the line. He's got such a high floor that he's going to be a starter for you. So he's got experience, technique, posture, anchor, hand placement, grip strength, tenacity, and good enough athleticism. I just think with a high floor, not an insanely high ceiling, but it has the flexibility. Is he going to be an all-pro tackle or guard? No, but I do think I think he could be ready to play by week 3 or 4 if we had an injury or if someone just looks terrible getting beat like a drum. I think he'd be a solid starter in the NFL. And to me, all those intangibles outweigh the negative. I think that's good enough to be our 4th round pick. I'm not talking about him being 2nd round. And we're talking about our pick 109 here. So, and if he fails there, then he can project a guard, and because you can eliminate pretty much his negatives at guard. You don't have to worry about him getting beat around the edge at that point. So, yeah, big fan.
I had to look him up. Has he played any right tackle at all? Do you know?
All starter at left.
Okay, so that's going to be a little bit. Just which if you thought about putting him on that side.
Well, hopefully Jalen Moore looks good for at least one season,
Yeah,
so you can get him ready to just take over for cheap for 3 years.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Based on my research, 2,700 snaps at left tackle, but he took reps at guard and center during the Senior Bowl and pro day. So but yeah, left tackle primarily. Yeah, his numbers are pretty insane. I know some will say Mountain West, but enough of the conference stuff. Like Mountain West is D1. They're playing high. They're playing guys who are playing on Sunday. 99.3 pass blocking efficiency rating in 2024, ranked 3rd among all FBS offensive tackles. In 2025, he had I think you mentioned the 80.0 overall PFF grade, 5th nationally in his position. So I mean, this is a guy you can kind of play him in all spots of the line, right? He's not just a left tackle; he's playing guard and center reps. I mean, you guys know. I mean, we all know Andy Reid's history, Andy Heck's history. They like guys who can play all over the offensive line, and this is a guy who would
100%.
He would fit that mold, as well. Yeah, 6'5", 310. Yeah, man. What round did you say he was supposed to be going?
3rd, 4th.
3rd, 4th. Okay.
I always get him in the 4th round.
Yeah, I mean, JD, is that a round you'd be okay with going and getting a lineman to have in the mix?
It just depends who it is, man. Let me be honest with you. I most of my mocks, I'm not picking an old lineman. I'll get a guy that might be a project, and that's about it.
Yep.
Other than that, man, I'm not. I'm not concentrating on line.
I mean, 109. I wouldn't say 109 is concentrating on it. It's keeping it in my mind somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I do.
Maybe I liked watching Pole and Godric start multiple games a little less than you did. I guess.
Now you know what, Godric did a good job when being out there. Sure.
I mean, he's good for a team that's tanking and it's going for a top 10 pick. I don't know about going for a Super Bowl though.
No, so I'm not looking at them jokers at all, man. I mean, a couple of guys I'm looking at project wise. I'm like, yeah, I see they have a kind of a rough outing. But I'll take a gander at this guy, see what he looks like.
Please do. I again, posture, anchor. I loved it. Again, a 4th round. That's when I'm open for business for the tackles in my mind, unless someone that
Go ahead.
No, unless someone just falls who's an incredible value, and like at 29, if we're someone we're not expecting there and we're in love with them, or at 40, a guy, but more than otherwise, if the board falls normally, I would say, 109 is where I can get down with that at 109.
Yeah, I'm with you, JD. I'm not taking any O-linemen in my drafts.
Cal said, this is why we suck, because we don't never address it. We do address it. We got first round picks. We've had guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say always sucks. That's not accurate.
No, it's not. It isn't. Last year we didn't do. We we didn't play to what our ability and capabilities are. We didn't. We underperformed with especially probably the top paid offensive line in the NFL. The top paid.
Yeah. So
you're expecting those guys to bring it. You expect those guys to bring it home, and we just we didn't play to our potential. We just didn't.
Yeah, as far as draft picks in the top 3 rounds, we've expended a lot of resources on the offensive line, and then on top of that, how much money we spent on offensive line. I know Javonte there was a miss, but we still spent a lot of money on that right tackle spot. So
yeah,
we did. Yeah, that's why I'm saying. Yeah, that's not cheap either. That's what I'm saying. I think if you could find a possible long-term right tackle replacement for as cheap as a 4th round would earn you, I think it's a good bet at that point. I don't think you're saying to the detriment of another position. Right. That's why if the right guy falls in that area, I'm totally okay with it, because again, we're an injury or 2 away from having a really rough O-line situation. And I know no one here is a big Caliendo fan. So we're a left guard injury away or a right guard injury away from Caliendo being a full-time starter. So if I could have a guy who's a good insurance policy for right tackle and guard positions, even better for me. Line flexibility on our O-line is very important in my mind.
Well, here's the thing, though. A few years ago, Caliendo was okay. He was, he came in, he would provide some things, and really, we look over the past few years what the Chiefs offensive lines, what they've been able to achieve. And it was really that one where we had it in the Super Bowl, where we lost our tackle and we had to go, kind of a makeshift type of guys that, put in position. Same thing. We had to put Joe, Tooney outside. He did well until we got to the place we start playing the Eagles and they just ate our lunch. And so those things, like injury it's going to decimate any team. I mean, it's hard to find backups that's going to be as good as your starters. It's just that's hard to do, especially on the O-line, because if you got a guy that's as good as your starter, you paying a big, like that's what I'm saying, Jalen Moore. I mean, shoot, then you've hit the lottery. You really have. If your guy could come right in and start blocking, your top pass rusher like Will Anderson, those guys, shoot, then you have done the greatest thing you could possibly do, is find somebody who was just that great. Okay. We didn't know I didn't know Issa Polo was going to be that great. We kept talking about Ethan Driscoll. Driscoll was supposed to be up there, and he's going to be the next guy. And all, you know what I mean? And so Allegretti, he did a great job, and goes to Commanders, get paid. So it's just like one of those things, man. You look for consistency, guys playing together, and how does that look? And so sometimes offensive line, because everybody is playing, together, they got to be in sync. Sometimes when you disrupt one position, it hurts a lot of other guys. You got to help guys with calls. He's not used to, the twist and all those different things, man. It changes things. It does. So
I will say this about drafting things that we don't necessarily see as needs today. We traded up and drafted Noah Williams when we had Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, and just signed Fulton to our team. And if we didn't do that now, we'd be screwed at cornerback. So, your needs change very quickly. And we didn't have to draft Noah Williams last year based on the roster we had. But we did because we knew something and we liked him a lot. Because your perspective can change very quickly. And before you know it, everyone that was in that secondary room, gone. So,
but we
don't know.
No, we knew when you draft a guy that way, you kind of know what's going on. That's why they kicked the can down the road with Trent. I don't think they ever was really in the ballpark of trying to sign Trent up. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think they knew that he just became too expensive to sign. And so that's why they went ahead and paid Kalafkis and was like, oh, we get him out of the way. Let's go ahead and get him done. And then see what McDuffie then was going to want. And, man, he hit the high number. What are you going to do then? So, I mean, it was probably in your best interest to go ahead and get a guy because you know what's coming down. Guys,
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
I'm going to say this, okay? And I love guys who are making tons of money. What ends up happening is you're just going to price yourself out. Some guys just will. The price point is just going to be too high to pay. You know, with the Chiefs, if you're winning with guys that like, look, we don't have to pay you or King's ransom for something like this, then we're always going to try to hit the draft or get somebody in free agency and save $1 and a nickel to get guys and develop them, right? I mean, that's why you have great coaches and that's what they get paid for, to do things like that. But your main guys, you'll pay. We'll pay Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, now he don't have to worry about it because he's making more money than he ever would.
Cam Walker, baby.
Yeah.
Thank Cam Walker.
Yeah. And Jones. Those are your main guys you're going to sign. You get Bolton. We ain't writing $40 million checks out. That's just, I don't see it happening. Unless it is for Patrick Mahomes. I'm just going to be, that's my opinion. I don't think we're going to be sitting there trying to do things like that.
I totally agree with you. And that's exactly why when people are like, we don't need this or that, we have so-and-so. And a good example of that's Trey Smith. Trey Smith's a really good player, but he's making a lot of money. He's making like near Chris Jones money now.
Yes.
And if you're making near Chris Jones money, you better perform like Chris Jones, who's money on the field. If you don't, we can't pay you that much anymore, man. But to be able to do that, you need to have options after him, right? So that's why you might have to go guard or a tackle who can play guard in a year or two. Because, hey, we may have to make a tough decision with Trey when his get out year comes in 2 years from now. So that's why needs are very, very, very faint lines. Needs are, because your knee can change in a matter of a bad season, 2 bad seasons in a row from a guy who's making $25 million a year, and we just can't afford to keep you on at that level anymore. I'm sorry. No, so true. It's decisions, tough decisions are made every year, and we as Chief fans, we should know better than most because we've traded some really good players over the years, like franchise players. We've traded 2 players in the last 5 years who have become the highest paid players at their positions that offseason. And we've decided to keep guys who we made top 3 highest paid at their position also. And Chris Jones is what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we got to always keep that in mind. And again, you just don't know how the board falls. And if someone's really good and you're like, man, I did not expect him to be here. And we have Trey Smith and our right tackle is pretty much a 0 after this season. I mean, we can justify this. That's why I don't think it's crazy. I don't root for tackle, but I don't think it's crazy for us to do it earlier than I'm comfortable with because of those things.
All right, let's get to the last prospect of the night here. All right, so Darrell Jackson Jr. Again, I'm continuing the defensive tackle every week. I've done need tackle. Until we get a room that JD and I are satisfied with, I'm still going to punch the table, hit the table for a defensive tackle.
I love it. I love his look right here. Just the whole look like a big 5-year-old baby with he ain't got no tape on or nothing. It's like it's just out there playing, baby.
Also Fabian Lovelet, front of the show, also had that same look. Also a Florida State guy as well. Yeah. And Fabian Lovelet, was solid in training camp and preseason, but never made the team. But hopefully this guy, if he does get drafted by us. So Darrell Jackson Jr. stopping the run is his main thing. We talk about guys, the interior lineman. This guy is a run stuffer. It's what he is. 6'5", 337 pounds with a 7'2" wingspan. So he's a big dude. So Jackson's built to a 2-gap and absorb blockers, freeing up guys like Chris Jones to attack one-on-ones. All we've been talking about for many years is take these double teams or triple teams off Chris Jones and allow him to do his work on one-on-one, and he can do his thing in the passing game. Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like he may not be a pass rushing dude, but he'll be able to free up things for Chris Jones and other guys to kind of eat. So 81.3 run defensive grade, ranked third among ACC defensive tackles. Recorded 23 defensive stops, tied for the most among ACC interior linemen. 20 assisted tackles, which ranked fourth out of 800 plus interior defenders nationally. Talk about durability. Usually big guys miss games. Now this guy's durable as it can be. Jackson played 522 snaps, ranking in the 93rd percentile among defensive linemen. For a guy that size, that's rare stamina and reliability. True one technique guy you're drafting here. And also too, we like getting guys from certain schools. Florida State is that school that you can look at the track record. May not be the best, but Derek Nottie, Florida State. Joshua Kane-Doe, our boy, JD, Joshua Kane-Doe, Florida State as well. Fabian Lovett, Florida State. And even last year we brought in, I think his name was Joshua Farber from Florida State. He was a visit. I think he ended up going to Buffalo, I think. I could be wrong on where he ended up going.
Josh Farmer, he went to New England.
So we do like bringing in Florida State guys. But when I was doing mock draft and I saw his size, 6'5", 340, I was, whoa, this guy's enormous. To have a guy like that, and this is like he's like a round 3, round 4 guy. I've seen some mocks have him going in the second round, but day 3, round 4 is what I've kind of seen him at. I think, we need to solve our defensive line issues, and I think getting guys who are big dudes will help us go a long way. But this guy's Darrell Jackson Jr. What are your thoughts on Darrell Jackson Jr.?
I've seen some of his tape, man. I like him. Don't really like bending his knees that much, No,
he doesn't. he's kind of top heavy, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
That's a little worrisome for a guy that big.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Wanye Morris, a D tackle.
Now, I see somebody over talking about Wanye. They talking about getting the JD said Wanye was better than Polay. Now, look, I'm going to say this, okay? All right? I'm going to go on this. I said Wanye was a good player, which I still thought he was. Issa he got cut. We released him. So it wasn't just me that said that. Heck, the team thought so also. They didn't believe in him. And then they brought him back and we threw him in because he ain't really had no choice. And guess what? The sucker showed up. That's what he did. Now, he still needs to be refined. He's still a little project. And I think, this offseason, he'll work well to be what he needs to be. But still, man, hey, look, Issa, he did shock me. He was one of those guys that shocked me. Now, going back to this, Darrell Jackson, okay? Run stopper for sure, but see, I'm not big on the run stoppers as much. It's like Caden McDaniel. I'm not really, he's a true, pure nose tackle. I'm just like, man, we need pass rush.
You were talking about McDonald from Ohio State?
Ohio State, yeah. Caden McDonald, from Ohio State. I'm like, we need guys to get in the backfield. I get stopping the run. The stopping the run has never really been our issue and our problem. It hasn't as much. We had guys that's been in there, the serviceable guys that been able to come in and, hold double team sometime. But I think, if you got a fast dude that gets in the backfield, then some double team's just not going to hold up. But this guy right here is a strong guy, man. I watched the tape. I'm just going to say he wasn't as impressive as some other guys that I watched. But, it is what it is.
Whenever I'm obsessed with grabbing like a D tackle and I didn't find good value in rounds 1 and 2, like he's always there at 74. I take him a lot, which is like we were talking about how did I come across James Thompson? I was tired of doing that with Jackson. And I was like, man. So I didn't take him there. And I waited. And I'm like, who's a left? Like, and I didn't like who was there in the 4th round, 5th round. And that's how I came across Thompson. He's got really long arms and his hands are 11 inches. That's his bread and butter. It's delivering big blows to interior linemen. His pad level runs high. Doesn't have a lot of that bend. I think he relies a little too much on his upper body and those hands. So a lot of plays when blockers get their leverage on him, he doesn't always know what to do because he's not used to that. He delivers that hard blow, and he's used to, imparting like the Red Sea. He definitely shows flashes. I think the problem that any naysayer would have on him would be kind of like what I was saying about Sadiq earlier, should just be more dominant based on his measurables. You have those long arms and 11-inch hands. Like, you should be, why are you letting smaller dudes push you around like that? You should be dominating. How are they even getting to your body with those arms and those hands? Like, 11-inch hands, his hands are covering the entire dude's like chest plate. Like, how are those dudes getting to you? How are you even letting them close to your body? So I think that's kind of the problem. He just doesn't always live up to what you see him and you're like, oh man, because it sucks to be that big to the point where we're like, oh man, I can't wait to see this guy go and gets a smaller line. He's gonna eat this guy's lunch, and you're like, oh, he's not really doing that though. So you go with such high expectations, and then he just brings you down, and it's lower probably than it should be. I think he's better than some of the stuff that people say about him. But I think at this point he'd be kind of rotational, and if you're gonna go rotational, I would rather wait because I think, he's projected to go around 74. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he goes later and we're all like, oh, man, now I'll take Jackson at the 4th or 5th round. Sure, now I'll do it. I just think rotational, you can wait a little while longer. I think either you get a full-time starter who's your guy for the next 5 to 10 years and in the top 3 rounds, or you wait to get rotational guys who give you an element of what your line's missing. He's not the complete package. Maybe he could be one day, but right now he's going to come in for X amount of plays and give me that. And that's what I want, right? So I just think, yeah. Anyway, I would rather go for a later guy like a Thompson instead of going Jackson at that early, 74 at least.
I was saying that you said, give me that. I wonder what that is what he's going to give you. Is he going to give you that like laziness or, that effort? You come out there and run off, like, get out the field. Come on. Like, man. Come on.
I never said he was lazy. You threw that one in there. He just can't get low. He doesn't have that bend to him. Maybe he needs to take some of that stuff from his arms and his midsection to that bottom half. Man, he needs a little more junk in his trunk's what he needs. You know, a lot of junk in his trunk.
I feel like we've learned a lot about Florida State guys, because we've had a lot of them over the last 5 years, or since we do the show since 6 years. What have you noticed? Obviously, Noddy and Kane were the only ones that made the team. Lovett never made the team, the 53-man. He was on the team for 2 years, but only just pretty much training camp. What do you think we like about Florida State guys? Obviously, only 2 have made the team. Brought in Farmer last year on a visit. But from what you've seen, what do you think we like about the interior D lineman and D lineman from Florida State?
I mean, like the length, man. The big dudes, man. Long, tall, lanky, long arms, all those things. Like prototypical guys that you would think. If I'm looking at 6'6", 315, you're absolutely right. I'm on paper. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to take this guy all day.
Yeah.
He's going to be the first one off the bus for me. And then all of a sudden you start putting on this tape, you're like, man, what's going on? And it's just like you would expect for a guy to be a game wrecker, okay? Like constantly be in the backfield, man. And I don't know. Marcus just worked out that way, man. We see him, he's like, man, what's the deal? But hey, beautiful bodies, beautiful. Got everything that you want. That's the canvas you want to be able to build something on. And so, I don't know, man. Daggone.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of them have not panned out, but still, they keep trying for the Seminoles. They still want to see a Seminole defensive lineman work out here somehow. But still waiting on one.
Yeah.
Still waiting on that right one, that perfect one.
Thanks for the super chat, Kyle. We are going to hold on to that Polay take for a very long time.
Hold on to it.
Give me a long pole for Pole.
Hold on to it, because it shocked not only me, but also the coaching staff too, and Andy and those guys. All of us got shocked, Cal. Believe that. So make sure you hold on tight to that one, okay?
Well, they did say when they cut him that was one of the guys they wanted to bring back right away, but the Jets pounced on him right when they cut him. That was the guy they wanted to bring back.
Yeah,
but,
project. Like Ethan Driscoll was a project. Everybody kept talking, oh, Ethan Driscoll. I'm like,
oh, man.
hey, man, like y'all not watching, his feet are slow. His feet are so molasses. Molasses is what it was.
And you need that good bend to play inside, right? So it's like if your feet are slow, but see, that's a common misconception too. People think because your feet are slow, just kick them inside. You need fast feet to be a guard.
Yeah, you
what?
do.
You can't be slow. It's slow. Put them inside. That's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that simple. You need quick feet to be a guard. So, I mean, I don't. It's tough, but
well, you're sitting back on your heels now too. Then, so you got to catch a charge quicker and earlier than you do as a tackle. Tackle, you're sitting back. Guards, you got to take that hit immediately. Because you set in the depth of the pocket, so you can't retreat. You got to go, and this is what we seen King Suma doing. He was trying to adjust. Like, yeah, man, you got to adjust your weight, your stance, your leverage, all those different things. So
and you mean lateral, right? Like lateral quickness and getting back from the kick. Like, because Driscoll, he had that clip where he ran really fast, so people are like, okay, he's athletic. There's a difference between running fast and coming out of your stance and being ready for a speed rusher.
Oh yeah. Totally different.
Yeah, people were hyped up on Driscoll pulling out on that screen to Deneric Prince, and everyone's, oh man, look at his feet, he's fast. And then that was it.
So maybe
he started right tackle after that.
So maybe he could give him a shot at guard then, at least to get out in space and just try to run through people. I mean, the lateral quickness isn't as needed at guard as it is for tackle. You won't get beat like a drum every time.
Yeah, I think, definitely lateral quick, because you got to get in front of guys. And so they do a great job of, getting on your side immediately. Like like Gracen Halton, immediately trying to get to your side. You don't want to hit you right flush because I'm making it easier on you. So those guys are stout inside. That's I want you to try to run over me because I'm just going to be force with force. Now, if you make me move my feet and you get on me, that's a whole different. That's why you start seeing your guy, the dude you just showed, Tage, when he's going one-on-one against those guards. You just get
Thompson
around him. Yeah, it was, that's what you want to do.
Yeah. It's hard. Man, I'll tell you what, though, like those drills, they're such D-line drills. Like one-on-one on an island. I mean, come on now. That's like stopping a basketball player from scoring. Like, I mean, you know how hard that is one-on-one to do? Like, it's so hard to do. So when a tackle wins, I'm like, whoa, okay. That's why I was so impressed by Kage Casey handling Lee Hunter, because Lee Hunter is a top 2-round talent in this draft, and on an island one-on-one, and he's not even a guard. He was playing guard to handle him. I was really impressed by that. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he can play. He's an NFL player.
All right, guys. Well, we hope you guys enjoy this 2.5-hour epic of our Monday morning tight end show. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We will be back Wednesday night. Some stuff to discuss with JD. Now we'll get into on Wednesday. Rashee Rice back. Maybe I can wear my free 4 shirt that I got him for Christmas. That I don't know if I was able to wear it again, but now he's. I was probably never going to wear it again had he been with that whole situation. But
what? Wait a minute, hold on. You had a what?
Well, do you remember that shirt that all the players wore before one of the games during the season? It was free 4. It was like a picture. It was a bunch of pictures of Rashee Rice at free 4 on it. Kelsey wore it. Everybody wore it. Yeah. And I got that for Christmas. It was one of the Christmas gifts I got, and I hadn't worn it yet. And then the news came out with Rashee, the allegations. I was like, oh no, I can't never wear that shirt. But
yeah,
it wasn't just the news. People were specifically calling out that shirt too, saying like, I can't believe you wore this, Travis. I can't believe you wore this.
Be supporter for domestic violence and abuse. They're like, hey man, like no.
Yeah, Travis hates women. I knew it. Leave him now, Taylor.
There were a lot of those kinds of comments.
There were. These are all quotes.
So we'll talk about Rashee Rice. We'll talk about Kaiir Elam, a guy that JD on this show a couple of years ago was a big fan of. So we'll get into that as well. But yeah, JD, close us out, brother.
Hey, man, everybody know what it is, man. Appreciate y'all so much for staying with us. I know it was a long segment, but, we love talking. We love having these conversations, talking about these guys. I think we did a great job presenting you with all these possible picks for the Chiefs. We got another 2 weeks? 2 weeks.
Only
right?
2 more of these bad boys to
Two
go.
more. Yeah. So,
man,
hold on. It's almost there.
Man.
I'm not laughing at domestic violence, this little shot. I'm not doing that. I would never. I think people that commit that are cowards. I think they need to get the book thrown at them. If you need to hear it particularly, let me say it that way, okay? So nobody should put their hands on anyone. A man should put their hands on a woman, and a woman should put their hands on a man. None of that. So, I always preach love here. That's just what it is. So we
were laughing at people assuming Travis was a fan of domestic violence because he wore a T-shirt. Right. That's what we were making fun of.
Yeah. I think Miss Little Shadow should know. Come on now. But with that being said, like I said, I'm always preaching love on here. Deshaun, good to see you. Thank you, Cal, for the contribution, like you said. Listen, y'all take care. Love each other the way you're supposed to. Keep your hands to yourself. You're not about that whatsoever at all. In no part, no way, no how. So with that being said, man, Marcus, Tage, man, love you, brothers. I will see you all on Wednesday night. Chief Concerns family, y'all take care. God bless. We will see y'all later.
Take it easy, guys.
All right.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.